Introduction. In recent years, a lot of research has gone into analyzing the factors that affect self-discipline. Psychologists have performed one experiment after the other to identify how individuals can harness self-discipline and use it to reach for success. The prefrontal cortex is that part of the brain that affects how you behave and make decisions. It is located right behind your forehead. That said, it is important to note that self-discipline takes more than the action of the brain. According to a research conducted by Kelly McGonigal, Doctor of Philosophy, a Stanford psychologist, willpower, which breeds self-discipline, is a factor of both the mind and the body. He goes ahead to explain that self-discipline involves dealing with internal conflict. You know what needs to be done, but struggle to do it, like waking up on time in the morning, or starting an assignment early to beat a deadline. Similarly, you also struggle with the urge to do things that you should not be doing, like having yet another scoop of ice cream dessert when you should be watching your calories, or having one or several for the road after work, yet you had purposed to restrict alcohol intake to the weekends. Self-discipline helps activate what is referred to as the pause and plan response, where the brain is able to think rationally and override the sudden urge to do or not do something. The body then kicks into action. Mel Robbins, author and television host, illustrates this in what she calls the 5-second rule. It simply states that once you decide to take action, you must move physically within 5 seconds, or the brain will pull back on the idea. Just like McGonigal had asserted above, it takes both the brain and the body to take action. Mel Robbins, in her 5 seconds rule, adds that the speed of execution is of the essence. You see, the brain comes up with the idea, but it can kill it just as fast. Your brain tries to protect you. It makes a decision to do something, then quickly realizes you're going to have to move out of your comfort zone to take action, then quickly retracts in an effort to protect you from the discomfort. It's just how the brain is wired. You have 5 seconds to physically begin moving before the brain shuts down the idea. She recommends that you count backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and get moving. For instance, when your morning alarm rings, if you don't convince yourself to get out of bed in 5 seconds, your brain will instantly give you reason not to. This rule will help you increase productivity, beat procrastination, save time, and do what needs to be done. Among the experiments done by psychologists to determine the effect of self-discipline on the quality of life include: high school students were given the option of receiving $1 right away or $2 in a week's time. There are those who picked the $1 right away, excited at the prospect of buying a snack. On the other hand, there was that group that made up their mind to practice delayed gratification and receive double the amount. The researchers examined the performance of these second group in school activities. It was found that they had better grades, higher self-esteem, were confident and related better with their peers. So college students filled questionnaires, and their answers were scored to rate their self-discipline. Just like their high school counterparts, those with high levels of self-discipline excelled in the other facets of college life. They achieved higher grade points and class, and also excelled in the extracurricular activities of their choice. Their relationships also fared better. A population of 1,000 people was monitored from childhood to the age of 32 years. This included taking information from their parents, guardians, and caretakers. It was determined that those who developed self-discipline from a young age ended up with better lives. They achieved more, acquired dependable financial security, enjoyed better health, and were less likely to be involved in drugs or criminal activities. Overall, it was determined that self-discipline enables you to be happier, to achieve more, and enjoy better physical and emotional health. Self-discipline is like a muscle. And the more you exercise it, the better it gets. If you master waking up on time every day, you'll also find it easier to control your cravings and pick healthier options. If you always hand in your reports on time, you'll find it easier to attend to your workout routine. Simply put, being disciplined in one area enables you to easily apply similar discipline in a different area. At the end of the day, all areas of your life are enhanced by the self-discipline. Chapter 1. Understanding Self-Discipline. What self-discipline is according to author Monsieur Kopner? Self-discipline is the ability to make yourself do what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. No matter where you are at in life, you should hold yourself to a system that checks your excesses and keeps you in line. I don't just feel like it has always been the major reason for procrastination. But if we keep waiting until we feel like it to come to action, we're in trouble. Self-discipline can be explained in different ways. It could mean endurance, restraint, thinking before acting, perseverance, or carrying out your plans and decisions despite obstacles, hardships, or inconvenience. Self-discipline could mean self-control, too. This simply means avoiding unhealthy excesses which may have negative repercussions. Whatever definition you fancy, one thing stands out about self-discipline, that innate ability to forgo instant pleasure and gratification in favor of more satisfying results or greater gain, even though it takes time and effort. I have found that the term self-discipline carries a feeling of dread in many people. They see it as resistance and discomfort, something difficult to reach, nasty, requiring a great deal of sacrifice and effort. But this is quite the opposite. You can attain and exercise without having to undergo immense suffering. Contrary to popular belief, real self-discipline is never punishing or restrictive of your lifestyle. It does not mean living like a monk or being narrow-minded. The truth is that self-discipline comes from a place of staying power and inner strength needed to manage life's everyday affairs while reaching your life goal. By adopting a spirit of self-discipline, I have been able to overcome indecisiveness, procrastination, and laziness, which used to be the major challenges I faced. I saw myself taking bold actions and persevering with them, even though those actions seemed demanding and unpleasant. I saw myself applying moderation in things I do. In the process, I became more considerate, understanding, tolerant, and patient. For someone like me who was prone to bend easily to external influence and pressure, I began to take more control of my life. I saw myself not just setting goals, but taking concrete steps to reach them. I became more punctual, putting more time and effort into the most important things in my life. I was exercising regularly, avoiding alcohol and drugs, stopped procrastinating, and began to save for retirement. Self-discipline comes with mastering your thoughts. By controlling what you think, you can control how you act. It comes with doing things when you don't want to. It comes with being free from weakness and laziness, being free from doubt and fear, and being from the demands and expectations of others. Overall, the core truths of self-discipline are perseverance, not giving up in spite of setbacks and failure, a self-control of one's conduct, desires and feelings of resisting temptations or distractions, striving repeatedly until your goals are accomplished, doing the necessary things first. Understand that the path to success is filled with a myriad of challenges. Getting there won't be easy. But if you can harness self-discipline, persistence, perseverance, like how I will show you in this book, you will rise above whatever problem and then live a happy and satisfied life. Besides loss and failure in life, a lack of self-discipline can cause health and relationship problems. A lack of self-discipline can even be traced to addictions and eating disorders. Every day, you are faced with several decisions to make. Self-discipline is the only factor that allows you to make the decision that is most favorable in the long term, forgoing instant gratification. Instead of picking the most pleasurable, comfortable decision, you withstand that temptation because you understand that the attractiveness of the easiest solution is only fleeting. And therefore, when you are self-disciplined, you find yourself thinking long-term instead of short-term. You know that these comfortable decisions would never lead you to success. But the problem here is that each pleasure-based decision often does not immediately impact your life negatively. But when combined, these unprofitable little decisions can be dangerous. Mental strength, we cannot talk about self-discipline without first understanding something called mental strength. A lot of mental strength is required to control your desires, feelings, and behaviors. Keeping things under control involves addressing the most important things first while doing away with distraction. Gaining mental strength is never easy, but it is possible. Having the essential willpower needed to do what needs to be done, and having that innate ability to withstand temptations to achieve long-term goals all require mental strength. Self-discipline can be used interchangeably with these terms. Willpower, drive, determination, self-control, and resolve. But what exactly is self-discipline? It is a person's ability to not give in to impulses, behaviors, and emotions that will give instant rewards in order to achieve long-term goals. This is what separates humans from animals, which has a scientific basis because the whole process of willpower and self-discipline happens in the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is a lot bigger in humans than in animals, particularly other mammals with the same kind of brain structure. Some scientists even go as far as claiming that self-discipline is what makes humans human. This allows humans to plan and analyze alternative courses of action instead of doing whatever they feel like doing that can only lead to regret. It is the ability to wait for a bigger reward by forgoing small and easy rewards. It is also the capacity to remove any unwanted feeling, thought, or impulse, especially when you are having a difficult time. The Spartans and special forces probably have thought about quitting or giving up during the difficult training, but they have the mental strength not to give up because they focus their sight on their goals. There are 3 different aspects of willpower, or self-discipline: the ability to resist impulses and temptations, or the I won't power, the ability to do things that have to be done, or the I will power, and the awareness of your personal desires and goals, or the I want power. You have to use all these 3 not only to achieve your goals, but also to steer clear of trouble. Self-discipline is a form of effortful and conscious regulation of oneself by oneself. It is all about fighting temptations, resisting impulses, and using different kinds of techniques to be in control. No wonder it's a tiring activity because your enemy is your own self. Why is self-discipline so hard? One major factor that makes self-discipline look hard is our comfort zone. We love our comfort zone, and we will often do anything to remain there, even if it means remaining stagnant in life. The core value of a disciplined mind, however, says you should do things whether they are pleasurable or not. As humans, we constantly quest for pleasure and in the process miss out on our long-term goals. Instead of focusing on the end reward, We are scared of the pain and effort required to make our dreams come true. Another factor that negatively affects self-discipline is the spirit of entitled expectations. We are not prepared to continuously push ourselves. We want things to be easy, to work out smoothly for us. We expect life to give us the best because we deserve the best. We shrink away whenever we encounter problems. Also, self-discipline is not inborn. You can develop, strengthen, and exercise it, just like working out or building muscles. However, most of us find this building process to be quite difficult, so we accept failure and settle for mediocrity. If you can live with the prospect of failing, maintain self-discipline is impossible. A life without purpose is a life without discipline. When you don't have a vision for your life, how can you maintain discipline? Likewise, temptations are the bane of humanity. We are tempted every second of the day. Binge eating, money, alcohol, smoking, sex, drugs, laziness, and so on. Each day we give in to these temptations and enter a vicious circle of negative habits. Without the willpower to withstand temptations, we become slaves to our vices. Why self-discipline is important. Self-discipline played a bigger role when it comes to academic success than IQ. You may be smart and intelligent, but if you do not have the self-discipline to attend classes, submit projects on time, or to study for an exam, you will still get lower grades. If you are a disciplined and conscientious student who studies every night instead of chatting with friends and watching videos, wakes up early every day and attends classes on time, and finishes projects and submits them before the deadline, you will surely get a higher grade. Education or attending school is not just about learning new things and acquiring knowledge. It is also about developing yourself, discipline to do things that you really do not want to do, but you are expected to do to become successful in life. And when you go out to the real world, your willpower and self-discipline is tested on a daily basis. You might be tempted to stay in bed and call in sick because you do not feel like working. But you still get up and you force yourself to go to work because you need to earn money. You might be tempted to use your credit card to buy that expensive designer bag that you really want. But you don't because you know your salary can't afford it, and you don't really need a bag that costs thousands of dollars. Every day you are faced with such temptations and impulses, and every day you fight them. You might get tired, sure, but it is something that you really have to do if you want to achieve your long-term goals, such as saving up for the future. Moreover, most of the problems that people face in today's world are related to self-discipline or self-control. These include addiction, alcoholism, large debt, unwanted pregnancy, domestic violence, crimes, overeating, sexually transmitted disease, lack of savings, educational failure, underperformance at work, and so on and so forth. The list continues, and it's all because people do not have the willpower or self-discipline. This only shows that self-discipline is powerful and should be utilized in order to become a successful individual. Making the decision to improve your self-discipline is the first step towards success. This also helps us interact better with other people in society. Just imagine if you do not practice self-discipline. You will just say whatever is on your mind or do whatever you feel like doing without thinking about the consequences of your actions. Rules and regulations in society go hand in hand with discipline. Without these rules and regulations in place, the world will be a dangerous and scary place to live in. And we follow these rules because we have self-discipline. Building the muscle of self-discipline, just like an athlete builds muscles through regular exercise, you too can build self-discipline. This process is a continuous one. If you don't continue to build your muscles, they will deteriorate. The same thing goes for self-discipline. The more you exercise it into every aspect of your life, the stronger you become. Then it becomes a vital part of you. The key thing here is starting small when building your self-discipline muscle. Overdoing anything is a killer of motivation. By starting small, you give yourself time to get used to this new behavior. Then you can gradually raise the exertion of your self-discipline muscle, and building self-discipline, concentration is important. Often, we get too thrilled about the big picture or the future that we fail to concentrate on the present. Follow your goals one step at a time. Distractions will always come. It is your responsibility to tune them out if you truly want to succeed. Start small and work your way up. Never lose that momentum. Pick out one area of your life where you would like to be disciplined. It could be going to bed early and waking up on time, or reducing your beer consumption, or reading a book for an hour every day. After mastering discipline in one aspect of your life, you can then move on to the next aspect. Self-discipline can become a habit if you're ready to put in work to establish it. Most people understand the benefits of self-discipline, but very few truly work on how to grow and toughen it. In this book, you will be provided the necessary guidance and information. Guidance for growing your self-discipline, a skill everyone needs for achieving success. What does self-discipline look like? It's all talk and mumbo-jumbo unless you are given concrete examples of the manifestations of self-discipline in real life. Here are some examples of self-discipline as practiced by ordinary people in different scenarios. Emily is a regular employee who works a 9-to-5 office job. She dreams of starting her own business in the future. She does not particularly love her job, but it's okay. After all, her job pays her rent and puts food on her table. She wakes up early every day and writes down ideas and plans for her future business. She goes to work and finishes her workload way before the deadline, which gives her plenty of time to plan more for her business. She receives emails and text messages from shops about their promotion and sales, but she ignores them. Instead, she saves up at least 20% of her salary every month, and she does not make any unnecessary purchases. Her goal of starting her own business is always in her mind, which makes it easy for her to resist temptations. Robert has been drinking since he was a teenager and became a full-blown alcoholic when he got married. He has been having problems with his wife because of this until she decided to leave him, bringing their children with her. He almost lost his job because of his poor performance. One day, he just realized he has had enough and decided to be sober once and for all. He knew he couldn't do it by himself, so he asked the help of his best friend. His best friend encouraged him to attend AA meetings so that he can be with other people who are experiencing the same thing. He had to go to these sessions 3 times a week after work. Whenever he felt like drinking, he would call his friend. It was a difficult journey, but he is now celebrating his 3 years of sobriety. He is also trying to work things out with his wife, one step at a time. Victor had been in a car accident and has been in bed for many months. He always felt pain and discomfort. Doctors told him that he would return to his normal, a healthy self again, but the process is long and tedious. Some people will feel discouraged and hopeless. But people with enough self-discipline only sees the possibility of being healthy again. Victor still goes to work every day despite the pain and discomfort. He always goes to physical therapy to bring back the strength in his muscles. He also pays close attention to what he eats because he knows that he has to eat only nutritious food. Every day, he makes himself get out of bed, eat breakfast, and go to work because he has a goal in mind, to be healthy again. He does not give in to the temptation of just staying in bed all day because he wants to be better. Michelle loves to shop. She loves getting great deals, and she never misses going to big sales at the malls and her favorite shops. She always maxes out her credit card because she just absolutely had to buy that amazing bag that will go well with her newly bought outfit, or book that ticket to Europe that she barely can afford because all her friends are traveling. She just pays the minimum amount required not to get late fees. But one day, she just realized that she is in too much debt and she has no way of paying it all. She knows she is in big trouble, so she decided to make some drastic changes. She researched on ways to pay off credit card debts. She cuts off all her credit cards and consolidated all her debts in one account. She evaluates her spending habits and finds out that she is spending way more than what she is earning. She decided to let go of things that she does not really need, such as her daily coffee at the Starbucks, dining out or ordering dinner almost every day, and buying unnecessary stuff. She started to list down all her expenses and also her daily expenditures so that she will know where the bulk of her salary goes. She did not develop these habits over time. She did these things one at a time and made sure that she followed her budget to a T every month. How she spent her money before was a perfect example of not having willpower or self-discipline, and how she behaves now is a prime example of someone with strong self-discipline. She hasn't paid off all her debts, but she is getting there. You have also shown self-discipline a lot of times throughout your lifetime, but you want to do it like the Spartans and Special Forces did it to get more out of life. What self-discipline isn't self-discipline is not something that you need to do only once. It is a long process that involves several steps, which is why it requires unwavering commitment. This is why it is important that your goal is compelling enough. Otherwise, it would be difficult to stay committed to your plan. Long-term commitment is challenging, so you need to have some kind of accountability or accountability partner. This way you will be held accountable if you do not stick to your plan and work towards achieving your goal. How do you hold yourself accountable? If you fail to stick to a set schedule, you can punish yourself by working twice as hard the next day or not giving yourself treats and rewards. However, accountability is difficult to achieve if you do it on your own. You can easily tell yourself that you can do it some other day, or what harm can a piece of cookie do to your plan to lose weight? You will start fooling yourself that what you are doing is no big deal, and you can simply get back on track after this. Before you know it, you are in a lot worse shape than when you started because you just can't help yourself. If you do not trust yourself, what you need is an accountability partner who will not listen to your excuses and explanations. It can be your spouse or partner, a close friend, or a co-worker. Tell your accountability partner your goal and how you are planning to achieve that goal. It would be better if your partner is also trying to reach a goal and improve self-discipline because you can monitor each other's progress. It is amazing how much you can accomplish if you know that someone is going to check on you. If you remember the Spartan training, the women helped the men to keep in line by humiliating them in public. No wonder they always did their absolute best. You won't get publicly shamed, but your friend will know if you are slacking off, which can be a little embarrassing, but at the same time can also help keep you on track. Self-discipline isn't taught as skill in schools. Once you've read this book, you may feel tempted to launch a campaign to make it a mandatory part of the curriculum, but we aren't quite there yet. This means it's on us as adults to learn how to take back our willpower and give ourselves the edge. Fortunately, we live in an age of information and can easily research any number of psychological theories and techniques that will help us excel. Self-development has become something of an addiction for me over the past few years, and once you've read this book, you'll understand why so many people, from psychologists to monks, have much to teach us about self-discipline. It is an honor to pass this priceless information on to you. Yay! Chapter 2. Mental Training. Lesson learned from the Ronin. Let's look at some of the specific mental studies one would undertake in the practice of the martial arts, and ways that lead to the actualization of the kinds of qualities. We will, of course, explain the terms as we go along. Of the three spirits Fukutsu no Seishin, persevering spirit, if there is a single mental quality that can be said to be universal in every martial culture, in every time and place, it will be Fukutsu no Seishin, the persevering spirit. Never give up, never quit, never say die. The heart of the martial way is based, first, last and foremost, on the ability to continue through adversity of every kind. At the most basic level, when under physical attack, through fear, pain, and fatigue, the single most important requirement is simply not to give up. Martial arts, disciplines, as with all military basic training, and even most sports, virtually from the very first day, are specifically designed to help the practitioner develop this attribute. There are literally hundreds of drills, tests, and aphorisms used by teachers and coaches in every art and culture based on this principle. At a higher level, of course, the persevering spirit can be applied in all aspects of life and in every endeavor. Whatever life brings, whatever one's goals or beliefs, and whatever the challenge, the Budoka learns to approach it with a fundamental strength to carry through, a strength of heart and mind, and a will to continue to the end, and no matter the difficulty, is derived directly from the mental training inherent in regular martial practice. Fukutsu no Seishin, persevering spirit, without this, nothing else is possible. Kanto no Seishin, fighting spirit. This, while in many ways self-explanatory, it is one of the most highly prized qualities in all martial arts. It is something more than just the will to endure. It is an inner drive that impels one to fight back, to fight hard against an attack in whatever form it may take. It is sometimes assumed that this quality is inborn, but in the martial ways it has been shown time and again to be trainable. If a person is brought along progressively and motivated properly, almost anyone can find the fighting heart within. Isho no Seishin, winning spirit. Beyond the capacity to endure and the heart to fight lies another facet of the Budoka mindset, the will to win, the drive to seize the moment and move forward to achieve a goal in the face of resistance, whether from an opponent, in daily life, or within oneself, is a key quality that marks the Budoka for life. To see oneself as a winner, and to act accordingly, makes any person, martial artist or otherwise, stand out from the crowd. In many minds in Japanese, the word shin, exin, can be translated as mind, heart, or spirit, depending on the context. With Seishin Shuyo, there is a wide range of mental states that can be cultivated. In many cases, they are quite specific and can be developed through awareness, diligence, and practice. Here we look at some of the many minds of the Budoka. Shoshin, beginner's mind. Shoshin is the state of mind. Shin, of the beginner. Sho, open, willing, and indeed eager to learn. It is the mentality wherein the beginner is ready to receive the initial instruction transmitted by the teacher, and the advanced practitioner retains the openness that allows continued learning and growth. This mindset is essential for continuing to assimilate knowledge and to progress in the development of skill. The true Budoka cultivates this vital mindset. The practitioner who loses Shoshin, the beginner's mind, whether by thinking she knows everything, or by judgmentalism regarding another who may be teaching, creates a barrier to his or her own progress. Zanshin, remaining prepared mind. Zanshin is the state of mind, shin, of relaxed alertness which remains steady and ready, even after having defeated one's opponent. S. It is a prolonged state of vigilance, Zan, in readiness to cope with any event. such as a surprise attack from another direction, or any other potential reaction. Design Shin should be present before, during, and after execution of a technique, and especially after successfully defending against a real-life attack. In training, many systems require that the martial artist remain in the finishing position for several seconds after completing a series of techniques. Other systems may practice a complete scan of one's environment at such times. Whatever the training method, the concept remains. When the battle is over, and the war is won, and all your foes have been vanquished, then is the time to tighten your helmet strings. Mushin, no mind. Mushin is the state of non-mind. Shin. It is variously thought of as a mental state in which the mind is not fixed on anything in particular, or a state in which there is no thought at all, also called munen, non-thinking, or mushin, no shin, mind of no mind. It is described and practiced throughout both martial arts and Zen culture, and many martial arts have as part of their goal the ability to enter into this mental state during the execution of their techniques, and ultimately, even in combat, Mushin is utterly free from ego, anger, fear, or expectation. In this mindset, the practitioner allows any thoughts to pass like clouds in the sky, without following them. The unbound mind remains free to react at any time. The Mushin is often described as Mizu no Kokoro, literally a mind or heart, Kokoro, of water, Mizu. In other words, a mind that can flow freely, like water. It can instantly adapt to the shape of whatever it encounters. Conversely, if the mind can remain calm and still like the surface of a lake, it becomes a mirror that accurately reflects the reality of things as they are, without the inaccuracies inherent in preconception or expectation. Fudoshin, immovable mind, a mind that cannot easily be swayed from its fundamental purpose or commitment. It is a mindset which nothing from outside can shake. Fudoshin is that inner strength which enables us to meet any situation without hesitating or losing our way. An important distinction here is that by immovable mind, we definitely do not mean rigid and inflexible in thinking or opinions. Fudoshin is a state of solidity and firmness, steadfastness in the face of the storm, and unshakable strength of will under all circumstances. Isshin, single-focused mind. Isshin means one mind. It is a state of total focus on one thought or act. It is the ability to commit totally to the moment without the slightest hesitation and with no other restricting thought. Isshin is considered a very powerful tool in the execution of martial arts techniques. Generally, it is considered to be a state one attains only momentarily. However, in that brief moment of total commitment, one can often achieve levels of power, of effectiveness, far beyond one's normal capabilities. In self-defense, as in life, there may come a moment when one must let go completely and give one's whole self to the moment. In these circumstances, Isshin, a totally single-focused mind, it may be the only recourse, the only way to save the day. Haijoshin, unshakable calm mind. Here we explain the specific martial term for this quality. A calm, jo, always, shin mind, is the mentality of always remaining calm and centered in any situation. It is one of the hallmarks of the high-level Budoka. Nyuren shin, open, flexible mind, being general open-mindedness, with new, flexible, pliable, nan, accepting, shin, mind. The main distinction here is that, in martial arts terms, Yuren Shine refers specifically to the willingness to be taught. In this context, it's not really about trust or belief in a particular teacher or system. It's more about a mentality of willingness and acceptance of the idea of being taught. One of the things the experienced Budoka eventually becomes certain of is that she doesn't know everything. The methods, concepts, strategies, tactics, and techniques are so vast that there is always more to learn. Further, there are many different, equally viable ways to perform even an individual technique. The true Budoka is always willing to learn, to be taught, to be shown. It is fundamental to the growth process and an integral aspect of the martial path. On many occasions you will find even the highest level masters studying new material or taking classes from someone of a lower rank but in a different style. They can put aside, for the moment, their position and knowledge, open their minds and, through the Ronin shine mindset, willingly allow themselves to be taught. Yoshin, flexible, adaptable mind. Yoshin means a willow mind or willow heart and implies a quality of flexing without breaking, of adapting without losing one's essence or true nature. In practice, it is also the ability to switch quickly and effectively from one plan of action or technique to another as the situation requires, to abandon what is not working without attachment and immediately try a different option while still maintaining the original goal. Yoshin is to yield with a purpose or to flow with the go. The most important thing in Kendo, way of the sword, is a flexible mind, which makes one humble enough to recognize one's own weakness and to overcome it through practice. The Sensei Kenichi Ishida, 8th Dan, Kendo Shingen, compassionate, understanding mind. In this context, the word Shen means heart or soul, and Gen means sight or clairvoyance. Thus, the Shingen is the ability to perceive and understand the heart of another and/or to see deeply into the underlying forces of situations. Kaiyushin, circle mind. Shushin is the mind that aids in avoiding or resolving conflicts. By viewing all sides of any situation and using words and body language in appropriate ways, one can employ circular forms that blend the forces of yin and yang, in and you, to create harmony rather than discord. That is Senshin, Shenshine, enlightened mind. It is purified mind, free from everything that is not in harmony or I, and embraces all with empathic understanding and without ego. This state of mugga, egolessness, brings the Budoka into harmony with the all. Chapter 3. The Ronin way of building mental toughness. Buddhists say that all forms of meditation derive from one of two approaches: vipassana, insight meditation, or samatha, purification meditation. Of course, meditation stretches back far before the advent of Buddhism, but if we look at the underlying principles of vipassana and samatha, we can see that the main principles of those meditations are found in various forms of ancient as well as modern meditations. Again, vipassana translates into English as insight, whereas samatha translates as purification. A good word to summarize the key principle of vipassana is awareness, whereas with samatha, a similar term might be concentration. According to the Buddhist sutras, the Buddha taught both vipassana and samatha in tandem, not referring to them as meditation modalities, but instead stating that they were qualities that resulted from the practice of proper meditation, and that both qualities were necessary for liberation. Unfortunately, though most schools of Buddhism claim that they teach the true meditation of Buddha, in actuality no one knows what the original method was, for no original writings exist. Nonetheless, many modern expressions of Buddhism have separated vipassana and samatha and codified them into specific meditation forms. For most schools practice one or the other method, with the vast majority using samatha concentration-based meditations primarily, which fit easily into a religious culture, wherein the focal point could be a sutra, a prayer, or a religious image or name. Vipassana could be considered a less intensely focused form of meditation than samatha. By comparison, in samatha you attempt to concentrate to the exclusion all but the focal point, whereas vipassana is a little more fluid. Or, for example, concentration schools might have you focus on a candle flame or a certain word, mantra, that you repeat in your mind or say aloud to exclusion of all other awareness, whereas mindfulness meditation might have you focus on the path of the breath and the comings and goings of thought while remaining detached from them. Beyond Buddhism, we find that of all meditations known around the world, the vast majority of them falls into the concentration category, with distinctions largely found in their specific focal point, their tradition, and their culture. As for the principle of Vipassana awareness, we can look to mindfulness meditation, which is a secular derivative of Buddhist practices. The basic mindfulness meditation focuses awareness on the breath, because breath travels through the body with its own natural ebb and flow. Our awareness is a little more expansive than it would be if we focus on a mantra. For example, from the TEM perspective, the basic samatha concentration and Vipassana awareness meditations are not so different, in that both forms are exclusive in their attention. The samatha schools advise total exclusive attention or focus, whereas Vipassana schools are, by comparison, a little less exclusive. The similarity from the TEM perspective is that both approaches advise exclusive attention. The reason these schools are exclusive in their meditative focus is that if you relax into focus on one thing long enough, the mind will quiet and there will be a breakthrough into a deeper awareness. When I first practiced meditation as a teen, just such a breakthrough happened to me. It took a lot of sustained attention for a long period of time, but it did happen. The only problem was that I was not able to get back to that place of vibrant awareness again using the concentration approach. Of course, it is possible to have exactly the same type of enlightening breakthrough with any type of meditation, but truth be told, breakthrough experiences are rare, even for dedicated meditators using the concentration approach. Some people can practice diligently for their entire lives and not have the breakthrough experience, whereas others will have a breakthrough the very first time and never again. Once we have had such a breakthrough, we tend to hunger for it again, and if it doesn't come, we might be inclined to give up in frustration. Of course, a lot of us might not be interested in an enlightenment experience, but are instead simply interested in improving the quality of our lives, reducing stress, improving our perspective, and so forth. Relaxed concentration is indeed a way to get there, but there is another path, one not about exclusive concentration, one that blends seamlessly with your active daily life. Again, whether samatha or vipassana, traditional meditations are all exclusive in their awareness when compared to the TEM approach, which means they are concentration-based. Understanding the principle of concentration through direct experience will give you a basis to understand the fundamental difference between the TEM approach and other approaches to meditation. To get you that foundational experience, we will design our own concentration-based meditation for you to practice now, based on the options that are traditionally available. If we look at almost every type of meditation found around the world, we notice that they all have something in common, and that is concentration on something specific to the exclusion of all else. Zazen-seated meditation in Zen Buddhism, for example, focuses on maintaining proper physical structure of the body during meditation. Mindfulness meditation, meanwhile, focuses on maintaining awareness of the natural path of the breath during meditation. Mantra-based meditations, transcendental meditation, commonly known as TM, and Christian meditation, or for example, focus on repeating a spiritual word vocally or in the mind. Regardless of the country of origin, the religion, or the form of the meditation, all of them focus on something to the exclusion of all else. Now, let's get some experience with concentration meditation. Select from the bullet list below the point of focus that you would like to meditate on. If you are already well versed in concentration-based meditation, feel free to skip to the heading on the next page. Final thoughts on concentration meditation. Stay in unwavering, upright seated posture. Awareness of the breath. Say our mind's eye. Focus on a religious or sacred symbol. The feeling between your closed eyes. the mental repetition of a one-syllable word of your choosing, such as peace, love, joy, etc. It is vocal repetition of a prayer of your choice. For our practice, we are going to follow the general guidelines that most meditation traditions advise. Set a timer for 15 minutes so that you are less inclined to think about time during the meditation. Choose a warm, quiet, comfortable location where you will not be disturbed. Sit comfortably wherever you would like to practice, with your spine lightly erect but not overly stiff. Close the eyes or keep them just slightly open. But if they are open, do not allow them to focus on anything in the visual field. The goal of your meditation practice here should be to maintain awareness upon your selected focal point while being as relaxed as possible. When you notice that your mind wanders, and it is likely to from time to time, just simply return your awareness to the focal point without any concern. Do not be overly concerned with doing it right or wrong, for that concern will keep you from relaxing sufficiently to enter a meditative state. Just simply keep to your chosen focal point and don't overthink the process. It is something that adults are very prone to do. Final thoughts on concentration meditation. There is a reason that concentration meditation is found in almost every culture and spiritual practice around the world. In short, concentration meditation, if we are persistent, works. Ideally, you enjoyed your first meditation. If you are like I was when I first started meditating, you might find that you want to meditate for more than 15 minutes. If you have the time and you're enjoying concentration meditation, it is highly advised that you take all the time that you like to explore. One of the challenges to concentration-based meditations is how easy it is to become bored or distracted as the brain tires from the effort required to concentrate. People who suffer from ADHD tend to find concentration meditations to be extremely difficult, as their attention jumps around almost constantly. The same difficulty is experienced by children who, quite understandably, might begin to dislike meditation if they are forced to use a concentration-based method. If you would like to explore concentration-based meditations in more depth, I have provided detailed instructions for how to perform seated Zen, a mantra, and mindfulness meditations in the Ready Reference section. I recommend the exploration. Chapter 4. Proven Method F for Gaining Self-Discipline. Identify clear goals by setting smaller goals. It becomes something that is more quantifiable, and because of this, you can easily keep track of how you're doing when it comes to goal achievement. Active goal setting is very different from passive goal setting. Passive goal setting means you are setting goals in your mind, and they are passive because they lack many details of planning. Passive goal setting means that a person hasn't properly defined the actual goal, which makes it hard for them to keep track of their progress and knowing what needs to be done in order to achieve that goal. Active goal setting is the complete opposite of passive goal setting. Active goal setting means writing out these goals and making sure that they have an important meeting. These goals have to be measurable and very specific. To successfully have an active goal, a person has to make a plan towards achieving it. This is why people set long-term goals, but also engage in smaller goals on a daily basis in order to work towards achieving the bigger goal. By using active goal setting, it ingrains the discipline in us because you are forced to get direction. By breaking down your big goals into smaller daily goals, it helps people avoid distractions by only looking at the things that they need to get done in the present day. This way, a person isn't left constantly thinking about one large intimidating goal but not knowing how to approach it. Active goal setting works by taking the first step in setting your long-term goals. If you are someone that has long-term goals like wanting to own your first home, wanting to pay off your student debt by the next 3 years, or wanting to take 6 months off to travel Europe. If you are someone that has long-term goals, then you need to actively participate in daily weekly and monthly goal setting and planning. You have to play an active role in tracking your progress towards your goals and making changes in places wherein you feel like things aren't working for you. So take out a pen and a piece of paper and start writing down what long-term goals you have. Once you have some long-term goals written down, break it down into monthly, weekly, and daily goals. Start slowly by accomplishing your daily goals, and when you reach the end of a month, assess to see if you have achieved your monthly goal through accomplishing your daily goals. If you haven't, look back on your daily goals and see if there's anything you can change so that you could achieve next month's goal. You have a list of tasks you want to accomplish. However, it seems that your list of goals continues to grow without you marking any of them off. You start to wonder if you will ever reach some of the goals you set for yourself. As you think about some of your goals, you realize how big they are, but do you know you can achieve them? You are not always sure how, but you know it is possible. One of the biggest practices when maintaining self-discipline is to create smaller steps for your goals. It doesn't matter how small you think your goal is, you always want to break it down into smaller steps. Think of your goal as the top of your stairs, and each step you take is reaching one of the smaller goals that will lead you to achieve your main goal. You don't want to make the mistake of setting your goal and finding yourself struggling to reach it because you didn't understand how to get started, what to do, or that the goal is too big for you. When you find yourself struggling with your goals, you are more likely to believe that you can't reach them. This will affect you psychologically and damage some of the self-discipline you have built. Golden goal setting rules to help you get into the mindset of developing smaller goals within a larger goal. It is important to understand the golden rules when it comes to setting goals. Write down your goals. How often have you written down your goals compared to keeping them locked away in your mind? You probably discuss your goals with family, friends, co-workers, and other people in your life. Have you ever sat down and written out your goals? If not, physically writing out your goals can help make your goal real to you. While you might feel you want to achieve your goal when you think about it, you have thousands of thoughts going through your mind a day. You might have an idea of how to reach your goal, but how much work you put toward your goal every day. Have you ever forgotten about any goals you want to accomplish or pushed them to the side because you didn't feel they were important enough or you were too busy to focus on them? If so, the real reason you might have forgotten or pushed them away is because you didn't write them down. When you write your goals down on paper, you want to use words like will instead of might. You want to make the goal as concrete as possible. For example, instead of writing, I would like to exercise for 30 minutes each day. You write, I will exercise for 30 minutes every morning. When you write down your goals, you want to frame them positively. You will write the way you think about your goal, so if you aren't completely sure you will reach your goal, this will come out in your writing. Then when you look at your written goals, you won't feel as strongly about achieving them, especially if you place doubt in your goals. For example, you write, I will try to stick to my diet and say goodbye to all the yummy food. It isn't a motivational goal. You can feel negatively about this goal because it will make you feel that you are saying goodbye to your favorite foods and forcing yourself on this diet. You want to word the goal in a way that highlights your new diet positively. For example, you write, I will stick to my diet to improve my overall health. Use the SMART rule. You can create goals or SMART goals. The SMART stands for the 5 characteristics that every goal should be expressed as day-specific. Specific goals are well defined and clear. You know exactly what you want and what steps you will take to reach your goal. Measurable. You want to include a plan to measure the progress of your goal. For example, you will have dates that give you a timeline of your goal. If you want to exercise for 30 minutes every morning, you will start by exercising 10 minutes every morning for 2 weeks. You will then increase your time by 5 minutes once a week until you reach 30 minutes. Attainable. Always know that you can achieve the goals you set. Of course, it can seem overwhelming at first, but your confidence will make you believe you can reach your goals. At the same time, you have to ensure that you need to work hard to achieve your goals. If you set goals that are too easy, you won't feel accomplished or grow out of your comfort zone. Relevant. Make sure your goals are relevant to the direction you want to take in your life. This will help you stay focused on your life's path and reach where you see yourself in 3 or 5 years. Time bound. Always make sure your goals have a deadline. The deadline might be a month or 3 years. It all depends on the goal and its steps. Your goals need to keep you motivated. If you set goals that don't motivate you to work on them, your goal setting won't work. You need to ensure that your goals are important to you and direct you where you want to go in life. If you don't imagine the outcome of your goals or have little interest in them, you need to look at why. Are you thinking about your goal in the right way? Are your goals something that you want to gain in your life? Is your goal a priority? You need to have the "I must accomplish this goal" attitude to maximize the likelihood of achieving your goals. The result of not following this rule will leave you frustrated and disappointed in yourself. Creating an action plan for each goal will help you follow through with them. You will remain excited, and each step you accomplish will give you more motivation to achieve your goal. It's not easy to look at a goal and then think about your action plan. To help you get more comfortable with this process, here are some tips to incorporate as you create your plan. 1. Make sure your goals are clear and you know exactly what you want. Think about how you will describe your goal. Ensure that your goal is relevant to your life plans and attainable. 2. Create the steps to reach your goal by going backward. For example, if you want to eliminate your debt within a year, you will look at how much you need to pay off every month, every 3 months, and during the 6-month period. Having an amount for each of these milestones will help you keep better track of the steps of your goal, and make sure you include a time frame for each step. 3. Take each step one by one and focus on it. You need to determine what actions are required for you to reach your goal. For example, you will create a budget and notice where you can save money or what money you can put toward your debt every month. 4. Ask yourself what reward you want to give yourself once you achieve each step and reach your goal. This reward needs to be something that will keep you motivated and something you don't give yourself regularly. 5. Create a daily plan. Ask yourself what you can do every day to make sure you reach your milestones and goals. For example, if you purchase a lunch at work every day, how much money will you save if you pack a lunch from home? Will meal planning help you stick to the schedule? What other daily habits do you have that can help you save money or put it towards your debt? 6. It is common to feel like you have a chaotic paper full of goals and scribbles when you are done creating your plan. If you need to rewrite your plan, it is best that you do. You want your plan to look clear and easy to follow, as this will keep you motivated. 7. Make sure that you remain consistent in your daily schedule. This will help you achieve your milestones. Follow through with the tasks that you give yourself, and remember to stay away from your rewards until you complete a step. The biggest key when it comes to reaching your goals is to focus on one milestone at a time. Even when you look at your whole goal on the sheet, you want to keep your mind focused on the milestone you are working on at that moment. This will help keep you focused, and you won't feel so overwhelmed by your goal. When Roger wrote his action plan to help him follow a schedule, he decided to observe his natural behavior for a week and note anything that helped him follow through with his schedule and anything that kept him away from his schedule. The helpful behavior and actions that Roger wrote down included getting up by 7:00 a.m. and getting dressed, having a healthy breakfast, sitting at my desk by 8:00 a.m. Switching my phone on silent and keeping it in another room. Keeping the television in my office area bedroom off. Taking a 10-minute break to walk around the apartment every hour, but not turning on the television or sitting down. Taking a 1-hour lunch break where I leave my work and focus on a relaxing activity. Stop working at 6:00 p.m. and relaxing or focusing on other activities the rest of the night instead of continuing to work late or going back to work after an hour. The behaviors and actions Roger noticed that didn't help him stick to his schedule included staying up late and allowing myself to sleep in, staying up too late and napping during the day, eating a heavy and unhealthy breakfast, and not getting ready for the day, such as starting work while still wearing pajamas, keeping my phone next to me, keeping the silent mode off, having non-work tabs open online, turning on the television or watching a YouTube video when I am on a break, and not leaving my desk during my break, working from the time I get up until I go to bed. This decreases my willpower to work the next day, snacking often, taking more than my needed breaks, and not standing up to the point when I feel the need to move, telling myself that I can work on it later in the day. I have time. Once Roger had a clear understanding of what behaviors and actions helped him and which ones didn't, he started to create his plan. His goal became, I will follow my work schedule of starting at 8:00 a.m. and working until 6:00 p.m. with one 10-minute break every hour and a 1-hour lunch break. Roger then started to write out the steps of his goal. He gave himself a month to accomplish the goal and felt this was an adequate amount of time. The steps Roger included to help him make his goal were: 1. To start going to bed at 11:00 p.m. and set an alarm to get up at 7:00 a.m. 2. Get up and get ready for the day, just as I would when working outside of my home. 3. Have a healthy breakfast, such as fruit and eggs with a slice of bacon or a sausage patty. 4. Sit at my desk at 8:00 a.m. 5. And work until 8:55 when I will take a break until 9. 5. Repeat this break every hour. 6. Take lunch at 11:55 a.m. and be back to work at 12:55 p.m. 7. To stop working at 6:00 p.m. Roger focused on giving himself a few days and worked on one step at a time. Once he went to the next step, he rewarded himself with his favorite ice cream treat. When he reached his goal of keeping to his daily schedule for a week ahead of his deadline, he allowed himself to take a vacation day. Roger continues to follow this schedule, and he has found working from home to be more enjoyable as he separates his workday from his personal time with the schedule. Create new habits by breaking bad habits. Getting rid of bad habits is the fastest way to begin creating the personality you need to tackle any task and get things done. Habits are not always easy to quit. It becomes second nature and might take having people that can help hold you accountable. Use post-it notes and calendar reminders to break tougher habits or putting off projects or poor time management. The starting good habits, beginning new habits that are good and productive might be as difficult as stopping the bad ones. The difference will be in your experience of positive benefits from good habits. Leaving to appointments on time, and never being late to the job, always getting started on projects right away are all habits that will provide nearly immediate positive results. The sticking with your new routine and habits for 21 to 30 days will ensure that they are there for life, or at least the length of time you figure they are beneficial. Determining the most beneficial habits, determining the good habits to initiate that will benefit you most is easiest when taking a complete assessment of your current bad habits. It gives you a cheat sheet that allows you to see the areas in your life that are in need of a little reorganization or attention to specific detail. You probably already have somewhat of an incomplete mental list already. Choosing from there will depend on how you highlight them in order of importance. Overwhelming yourself with changes will not be helpful and could actually make you give up in a short amount of time. Focus on learning instead of past failure. If you try and focus on failure, your mind will gravitate towards it every time. Many of the most powerful men and women in business have had to file bankruptcy and create a business more than once. Rather than looking at it as a failure, they chose to view it in the light of education and learning. Failure is a negative term that leaves no room for actual improvement of skill, knowledge, and business acumen. Giving an idea a try and learning from a few mistakes is putting it to a brighter and more positive level. Zero criticism or complaining mentally tough people are not prone to complaining or criticizing a great deal. For one thing, it does not bring about any sort of resolution to an existing problem. You are more apt to turn people away and get them criticizing and complaining about your own behavior. The best way to deal with any problems is to roll up your shirt sleeves and get proactive. Solutions are all around, but it is up to you to find the right one to fit the situation. Appear to be in control at all times. In all situations, if you have earned a designation of mental toughness, not much should bother you to the point of losing your cool. Everything should wash off like spring rains. Personal upsetting news, or finding out a friend or family member passed away should be the only times you really struggle. Whether you feel completely calm on the interior, your exterior should exude the ultimate state of relaxation and reason. Setting the example will earn you bigger rewards down the line. Feel happiness when others succeed. It is never an emotionally healthy thing to have hard feelings towards anyone that is experiencing a round of success. A strong mentality is not given to the weakness of feeling bitter and resentful over the happy moments others are trying to enjoy. You have no idea how hard their walk was that got them to this moment, and they have every right to savor the excitement. You would not want your celebratory mood ruined if success had come your way. Find reasons to experience happiness at their achievement. Shove less important situations to the side. Mental toughness means you have to value every available second of your time. The time you have is something that cannot be reclaimed. Give priority to the important things in life, such as family, your business or job, and spend less time in petty endeavors that you could care less about. Trade the evening at a political club dinner for a class on something you really want to learn. As simple as it sounds, it can increase your satisfaction by a huge percentage margin. To spend an afternoon with your kids at the park rather than in some boring literary club meeting. Look at each day as a gift and opportunity. Another important habit to develop for mental toughness is looking at each day as an opportunity to expand your horizons. It is a gift that you can take time to share with loved ones and make the most out of every moment in this life. Place your focus on the things that are important to you. Give everything you can to get the maximum enjoyment out of life. Bring your best to the table, and others will. Although good habits can be the skeletal system that the rest of your mental toughness skills rest on. If there are areas that can be improved or bad habits deleted, take time out to get it done. Be persistent and remember that it takes a solid 4 weeks to make the changes permanent. You can see immediate improvements in every area of life quickly. Do not be afraid to take the plunge and make dramatic, sweeping change. Focus is a muscle you can build. Staying focused on things that really matter not only applies to those people who try to mislead you so that you don't reach your goals, but also applies to yourself. It is very common, this kind of situations, and it does not only happen with spook. The many social networks make you get carried away from doing the simplest tasks in your daily routine. So staying focused implies avoiding people who don't contribute to your objectives and instead desire to do non-productive things during the day. Once self-discipline sets in your life, your ability to think about your objectives and goals increases. Once you stay focused on your goals, you will be able to make a meaningful relationship between them and short-term activities. You will be able to define which tasks or activities are more important to the achievement and then A selection process unfolds in order to reject those things that only subtract time and do not contribute to improvement. Create an affirmation to stay focused. Life can get difficult, and at times you will lose your focus and get distracted. You need some sort of trigger that will motivate you to continue. This trigger can be various things. It can be a quote, a state, a photo, or an affirmation. Here are some. I am ready and committed to this outcome. I am focused and ready to take the next step. Let's get back on track and get this done. I am completely committed to getting one thing done today. I am committed to my goals, and my success is assured. I keep my own commitments with cheer. I'm committed to letting go of my personal comforts to achieve something more valuable. Keep your focus outward when out among other people. Focus on them. This will bounce back in your favor as they in turn focus on you. Introspection in a crowd projects awkwardness, as well as any negative emotions you might have tucked away deep inside. So keep your mind out of itself and focus on the rest of the world. There's a lot to see, and you'll be interacting, learning, and growing while you do so. When you are self-disciplined, you learn how to keep your focus trained on your priorities. You decide on your goals and you prioritize what the most important thing is on a day-to-day basis. Once you're able to do that, your self-discipline then kicks in, and you're able to zero in on that day after day. Your thoughts, your words, and your actions flow towards that goal. Of course, you're doing many other things, but there is a recurring theme in your life. There's this consistent focus. You're not just spinning your wheels or chasing your tail. There's a point to your day because at the back of your mind, you're inching one step closer to that grand accomplishment. This requires training. It also requires the ability to say no to shallow temptations and shortcuts. And there are plenty of those. In fact, there are too many. When you instead choose to focus on the big picture and take care of the things that you need to focus on, every action you take and every day you spend brings you closer and closer to the desired outcome. Now, this doesn't mean that your journey is going to be faster. This definitely doesn't mean that your journey will be smooth or everything will be easy. In fact, when you're working towards a big goal, there are almost always challenges you didn't anticipate. It's as if life is throwing you one curved ball after another. But interestingly enough, when you are disciplined, you find it in you to solve those problems and overcome those setbacks as they appear. They don't knock you out. They don't make you quit. They don't rob you of your resolve. They don't do any of that. Instead, you find it in you to put one foot in front of the other as you move towards that ultimate victory. That is self-discipline. It's not sexy and it's not overly dramatic. This is not the movies. It's not like you have all this conspiracy of people working against you and there are all sorts of thrills, chills and spills along the way. No, in most cases, a personal journey of self-discipline involves doing the same thing over and over again, every day. It's drudgery. There's nothing sexy about it at all. But your character is changing with each step. You become stronger and stronger as you turn down one temptation after another. Eventually, you will reach a point where you're saying, why am I doing this? There are so many other easier things I can do. And there are always that other shortcuts that I could have taken. Why am I doing this? You have to find the why. In other words, you have to find the purpose. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to take that next step. The self-discipline isn't as hard as you think. Self-discipline actually isn't as difficult as most people assume. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy. What's important is to understand that it has two phases. In the first phase, you don't know what you're doing. The task that you're trying to be disciplined at is new to you. It's very challenging at this phase. You're trying to figure things out. But once you get used to it, there is a tipping point where it becomes easier and easier. You do achieve a point of momentum. The key is to get there. Once you have fully adjusted, the self-discipline actually becomes so easy. But why? It has become a habit. It's almost automatic. By that point, it didn't really matter what my feelings were. It didn't really matter how inconvenient it was. It had become part of me. This is the power of self-discipline. The self-discipline is easier than you think once you pass that point of momentum. Self-discipline is a choice. There's a common misconception that some people are just born with self-discipline, and most others are not. That's wrong. Self-discipline is a choice. Do you think a lot of the self-disciplined people out there who achieve victory after victory were born that way? Absolutely not. Oftentimes, it took them crushing defeat to wake up from their old mindsets and choose a more disciplined approach to their life. The good news is, if they can do it, you can do it too. Self-discipline awakens your emotional nature. A lot of people are under the impression that there's really no space for emotion, insight, and intuition in self-discipline. They view it as some sort of automatic, almost mechanistic process. They think that it's soulless. They think that all you need is iron will. Boy, are these people wrong. If you think about it, the self-discipline is really the intuition of understanding, interpreting and managing your own emotions. And there's a reason why you would rather take things easy. This is your emotional side. It's always tugging at you. It's trying to hold you back and drag you down. And there's a lot of space for emotion here because you're managing your emotional states. And the first part of this is simply becoming aware. How do I emotionally frame the tasks in front of me? Do I over-dramatize things so as to exaggerate their difficulty? Do I make things all that much harder on myself because I view things in such an emotional way? This is not brute force or unthinking processes. You actually have to get in touch with your emotions and untangle some of the negative feedback loops that you have created for yourself. The self-discipline is one of the most pleasurable things you can ever do. I know this is probably going to make you rub your eyes in disbelief, but the truth is, there is a lot of pleasure in self-discipline. We often associate it with some sort of punishment. After all, we're restricting our lifestyle. We're doing one thing instead of the most pleasurable things that just pop up when you feel that we don't have any freedom. But the truth is, self-discipline enables you to enjoy the best things in life in their proper timing and context. With self-discipline, you would know how to provide for yourself and achieve the kind of life you want for yourself and your loved ones. This creates a platform for enjoying the rest of your life. Let's put it this way. Somebody who is disciplined in their career, who reach the highest ranks of their chosen corporate ladder, probably end up with a larger nest egg than everybody else. This enables them to travel the world, take art classes, publish a book or two, and otherwise live life to the fullest. How come? They paid their dues. So, instead of looking at self-discipline as a punishment in and of itself, look at it for what it is, a gateway to greater pleasures. The sleep, exercise, and nutrition, in order to be self-disciplined and productive, we need to have a sound wellness routine that ensures we have the physical strength and mental fortitude to pursue our goals in life. That means that we need to have disciplined strategies that apply to our sleeping patterns, our nutrition, our movement, and our ability to stay in the moment, mindfulness. Let's take a look at strategies that you can use when it comes to these crucial aspects of wellness. To sleep, many people work under the misconception that they need to sleep less in order to achieve more. However, the fact is that without adequate sleep, our bodies are unable to function normally. When we sleep, the body heals from the wear and tear that it experienced throughout the day. The brain, on the other hand, updates your memories, thoughts, and all the information that you have gathered throughout the day so that you can start afresh the next day. The scientists have discovered that we need about 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night to be well rested. Productivity is not just about being willing to do the work. You also need to be able to take care of yourself to ensure that you can do the work well. When you are exhausted or run down, or you are not eating as healthily as you should be, you will find that your entire body is going to struggle to function. You may realize that you cannot really get through what you need to do. You may find yourself dozing off randomly and intermittently. You may find mistakes that you would not ordinarily make. You may just find that your work is taking far longer than it needs to. This is because your body needs sleep to function. When do you usually go to bed? Do you have a bedtime routine that you follow nightly at the same time every night? Do you wake up at the same time every day? In this day and age, especially if you work and have children, it can be difficult to get through the day and actually finish everything you need to do. You may feel like you are self-disciplined by drinking that fourth cup of coffee at 8 p.m. as you rush to get the rest of the chores done. Lunch is packed, backpacks put together, the laundry finished up, and finish up any work you had brought home. However, you then find yourself up until past midnight, and the sleep that you get is not enough, nor is it actually restful enough to do what you need the next day. You did not actually help your self-discipline. You actually made it harder for you to maintain your self-discipline in the future. You need to be respectful of your schedule as much as you can, and that means that you need to keep your sleep patterns consistent. This will make sure that your body and mind are prepared to be as productive as they can be. This means then that you need to set up a sleep routine. You need to stick to that sleep routine. Not only will your sleep routine help you build up self-discipline as you follow through with it regularly, but you will also find that other areas in your life become easier as well. Figure out a routine and stick to it. Your body and mind will thank you. Exercise is one of the most important habits to build within all people. It acts as a cornerstone habit to help a person's life be filled with positive habits and be rid of the bad ones. A person that is truly able to discipline themselves has to instill the habit of exercise into their everyday routine. As you all may already know, there are endless benefits when it comes to exercise. This is something that is talked about not only by psychologists but medical experts as well. Even though exercise is such an important component of a person's life, not everyone actually makes it a priority. Why is this? In our busy modern-day lives, everyone is caught up with trying to get all the things that they need to get done, and are often busy running around completing errands and fail just to tackle exercise head-on. Often, people have a bad mindset when it comes to exercise and think that they won't be able to build it as a habit because they simply have too many other things to do. This is where most people are wrong, and are ways to incorporate exercise even if their day is jam-packed from beginning to end. Since the theory behind willpower is that it gets its energy from the brain, which gets its energy from glucose levels and rest, then it's safe to assume that sleep is directly connected to how the brain is able to acquire energy. When a person doesn't get enough sleep, the brain spends most of its energy focused on just keeping your basic body functions up and going. This does not leave much energy for a person to spend on exerting their willpower, practicing self-discipline, or even simply just remembering their self-discipline. Getting the proper and healthy amount of sleep is a vital requirement for accomplishing anything. When a person doesn't get enough sleep, it affects their ability to focus, their judgment, their mood, their overall health, and their diet. When people suffer chronic sleep deprivation, such as insomnia, things go from bad to worse. Many research studies have found evidence that people who don't get the proper amount of sleep on a regular basis have a greater risk of catching specific diseases. Lack of sleep also has a significant and negative impact on a person's immune system. This can cause a person to frequently catch a common cold or flu, which causes them not to have the ability to go to school, work, or get anything effective done. If, or an adult, it is important to get at least 6 hours of sleep every night. A healthy amount of sleep should range between 8 to 10 hours every night, but the minimum amount is 6 hours. Avoid eating or drinking anything that contains caffeine at least 5 hours before your bedtime so that it doesn't affect your natural sleep cycle. Make a note to also stay away from ingesting too many toxins during the day, such as cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, or prescription medicine if it can be avoided. In conclusion, the benefits of getting enough sleep are extraordinary. Aside from the fact that it can help you stay focused and be more disciplined, it also helps you to curb inflammation and pain, to lower stress, to improve your memory, to jumpstart your creativity, to sharpen your attention, to improve your grades, to limit your chances for accidents, and to avoid depression. Nutrition, your diet, affects your self-control and your emotional intelligence by extension. That means that the food you eat can affect the decisions you make on a daily basis, your productivity at work or at school, and the way you conduct yourself in personal and professional relationships. For your brain to function optimally, it needs a lot of energy. That energy is derived from the food you consume. The functions of your brain are also impacted by the hormones that are present in your bloodstream at the moment. For example, if you eat a lot of carbohydrates, you will get the energy out of it, but your bloodstream will also be flooded with insulin, and this, in turn, will cause the secretion of sleep hormones, which makes you feel hazy at work. You are better off eating whole, grain foods that release glucose into your bloodstream at a slower rate. This prevents your blood sugar from either skyrocketing or bottoming out, and it makes you stay productive for much longer. If you feel hungry during the workday, you should opt for protein-based healthy snacks instead of sugary ones. Movement exercise can improve your self-discipline and vice versa. When you exercise regularly, your body and your mind are conditioned to endure hardship, and this increases your mental toughness. That mental toughness is transferable to other aspects of your life. You generally become more self-disciplined. It becomes easier for you to focus on tasks at work, and since you are more energized, you find it easier to attend to your personal relationships and your social life. Mindfulness, this is the ability to be fully present in the moment. It's about being aware of where you are, the things that you are doing, and the sensations that you are experiencing, all without being overwhelmed by any of those things or activities. Mindfulness is an ability that everyone naturally possesses, but it's something that you have to practice on a daily basis in order to truly experience its benefits. When you focus your awareness on the things that you experience through your senses, then you are mindful. In our busy lives, we tend to do things on autopilot without really being present in a conscious way. Mindfulness is about paying attention to everything. The things you hear around, the things you see, the sensation you feel, the taste of your food, and different smells in your environment. The aim of mindfulness is to actually be mentally present so that your life doesn't just pass you, do through the motions like a zombie. When people think of exercise, then you may automatically think of a minimum 1 hour intense weight lifting session at the gym, a 1 hour long expensive spin class, or a 1 hour yoga class. If that's what they are thinking about, then yes. It is true that the people that have busy lives may not be able to incorporate the time to get to their exercise class, the time it takes to complete the exercise class, and then get to where they need to go after that. However, exercise doesn't necessarily have to be a formalized session that takes a long time. It can simply be getting some sit-ups, push-ups, or some jumping jacks in the morning before you head to work. It can also be you choosing to walk to work instead of taking the bus, or it could be a brief walk around your neighborhood park after dinner. Exercise, by instilling exercise as a keystone habit of your life, it can help you become more disciplined and can also improve your life in numerous ways. First of all, exercise is extremely effective in reducing stress levels and pain because it causes the brain to feel good endorphins and neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. Secondly, Exercise helps increase the oxygenation and blood flow of body cells, which is responsible for helping boost the immune system and fighting off diseases. Lastly, exercise increases a person's ability to focus on the task at hand due to the increased activity in the brain, which allows us to live a more disciplined life. So start building the habit of exercise in your life by simply just going for a 10-minute walk or just doing some sit-ups and push-ups right after you wake up. Just a few minutes is fine. Try to do this for 1 week and then increase the amount of time you spend on that session for the next week. Keep up with this pattern, and soon enough, you will have a healthy amount of time every day that you set aside to get your exercise in, and this is when it will become a full-blown habit. Exercise is the key to physical and mental performance. You know yourself if you participate in a healthy regime which includes exercise you enjoy, it creates a ripple effect of positive change. You have more energy, you automatically make better food choices, your body composition can change. So how do you move your body right now? Truthfully, if you currently regularly participate in sporting activities, good on you. If you don't move your body at present, and particularly if you work in a sedentary role, how can you increase your physical activity for the good of your health and well-being? Is there an activity that you love to participate in as a child that you could pick up again in adulthood? Did you dance? Do gymnastics? Boxing? Running? There are a multitude of sporting classes out there, and also more gentle and spiritual activities such as yoga or pilates that are effective and challenging. What could you do for your body? Answer that question. Plan in the time and do it. Seriously, what is your excuse? Budget the energy, not your time in many cases. We logically understand that certain things are good for us and certain things are bad for us, but we find it hard to act on that knowledge. This is because the negative actions are fairly easy to take, while the positive actions are much more difficult to take. For example, you understand that watching too much television is bad because it wastes your time, but you still find yourself doing it. And that's because the act of watching TV takes very little effort. You also know that working out is good for you, but you find yourself skipping your sessions. That's because working out takes a lot of effort. Because of this, it's extremely easy to avoid doing hard things that are good for you and to do easy things that are bad for you. This exercise is meant to slightly offset that balance. For example, if the difficult thing that you have to do is read for an exam, you have to set things up in such a way that it is very easy for you to start reading. If the easy, but negative, thing you often find yourself doing is eating junk food, you have to make it very difficult for yourself to get your hands on junk food. In short, you have to reduce the activation energy for the positive things and increase the activation energy for the negative things. You can remove the batteries from your TV remote to make it harder for you to watch TV. You can only stock your fridge with health foods and get rid of junk food in order to increase your chances of eating healthily. You can keep your workspace organized and put all your textbooks within your line of vision to increase your chances of studying for your exam. You can put a treadmill in your living room or even move to an apartment complex that has a gym in order to increase your chances of working out. Your energy is not infinite. You do not have banks and reserves of energy to power you through 20-hour days and unlimited time working on your goal. You need to protect your energy and you need to look after yourself. Those who choose to go down this self-discipline path and achieve great things definitely make a sacrifice. We all know that goals and dreams take time, but sometimes you can be a busy fool and leave yourself no extra energy to truly focus on your one thing and get your actions completed. In this step, I encourage you to tune into your mindset and your body and learn to read yourself to understand when to sprint and when to slow down. During the Industrial Revolution, when factories relied on employees working in shifts to keep the production line going, it was the norm to work 10-16 hours a day. Men, women and children all put in the hours to complete the work and get paid. A number of union guidelines, international government papers and books were published in the late 19th century encouraging a change to working hours, but it was Henry F. Ford who became the pioneer and the father of the 8-hour working day in the early 20th century. He promised to let his workers work 8 hours a day for 5 days a week, while guaranteeing the equivalent of 6 days' pay. Productivity increased, and this small change resulted in huge profits and results for Ford. However, this was 104 years ago, when the world was completely different. Our working environments are experiencing a contemporary overhaul. Look at a giant company like Google, Facebook and Tesla, and look into their working practices. They implement benefits, perks, and create working environments for us as we live and work today. Ford implemented his 8-hour day and 5-day week because it was the right thing for the time. So what is the right thing for this modern time? We do things so much faster and better with the advances in technology. Many forward-thinking companies of today are adopting measures for the modern-day workforce. Working from home, flexi-time meetings done via video link rather than international travel. We work smarter, not necessarily longer. Yet, as I write this, I know that I can work longer and it will benefit me. I am trying to cram in as much work as possible before the summer holidays. As a parent, my childcare options become limited over the summer. It has meant that I have been working early every morning before my son wakes, and then again in the evening when he has gone to bed. My days are a mixture of child-friendly activities bookended by the work I need to complete in order to get paid. What a luxury! Being self-employed means I can do this. If I were working the equivalent of an 18-hour day in an office, I think I'd get fed up of it and feel drained. It isn't for everyone, but this is a perfect balance for me in that I spend quality time with my son whilst also working on my business. It causes a shift in mindset and feels like a privilege rather than a curse. I get the best of both worlds. I'm also limited in time in the mornings and evenings, so I find I naturally work quicker and smarter. I have to get tasks completed before my son wakes, so I am constantly working to self-imposed deadlines. This is also known as Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law is the adage that work expands to fill the time available for its completion, or alternatively phrased as the amount of time which one has to perform a task is the amount of time it will take to complete the task. So in a nutshell, choosing to cram my work into shorter time frames actually works to the rules of Parkinson's Law, and I find I do get it all done around being a mum. I also know I can't do this long term. It may be 4 or 5 days maximum before I crash. I'm into day 3 at the moment and have planned a chilled out afternoon, knowing I need to top up the energy reserves later. I'm not writing this to suggest that you should in any way follow suit. I'm just pointing out that a 9-5 PM role, 40 hours a week, doesn't have to be the norm, nor does it have to get in the way of you achieving your goals outside of your job. And there's 168 hours in each week, and if you're working 40 of them and sleeping for 56 of them, what are you doing for the other 72 hours in a week? And could you dedicate some of those hours to self-disciplined actions that will in turn lead to great habits and feeling happier and in more control of your life? Where are you in flow? Being able to sprint definitely involves being in flow. What is flow? Also known as being in the zone. Being in flow is a term coined in positive psychology when your mental state of operation is at its optimum level. It's when you're fully immersed in an activity where you're fully focused, feeling energized, experience full involvement and enjoyment in the activity. You're completely absorbed in your action and you're losing the sense of space and time. Have you ever experienced being in flow? If so, what were the circumstances around it? How could you replicate that for the times you're looking to sprint and get stuff done? I recently had the use of a recording studio for a couple of days while recording the audiobook version of this book. This studio was soundproofed and had no windows. I spent 18 hours there in total. I absolutely loved it. Every single minute of it. I arrived at Ninium and left at Stream, and honestly, it felt like I'd been there about 4 hours. The next day I was expecting to be tired, but weirdly I wasn't. I think the absence of windows and clocks had tripped my mind completely. I had no concept of time, and was just focused on getting my work done, enjoying it in the process. I've since worked from studios with no windows and clocks and loved it, once again tricking my mind on the concept of time. I have realized that this is my sweet spot and perfect environment when I want to get my head down and achieve goals in a short space of time, in one sprint. This is the right environment for me to be in flow. I also know that even when nobody else is home with me, working from home rarely helps me be in flow, unless it is early in the morning and quiet. So if I have to do focused work that requires a sprint, I try and take myself away from home. I also make use of shared co-working spaces where you pay to use the facilities. I am a big believer in energy and vibes from others, and I love going to these shared working spaces in the city centre, feeding off the energy of other busy working people using the space. When do you need to slow? It's all very well focusing on the need for speed in life and work, but it's equally important to slow too. If you were a regular gym goer, your trainer would always emphasize the importance of a rest day. You can't keep your foot on the gas, and slowing down is equally as important as speeding up. Planning in times to slow down can also act as a reward and drive you to achieve your goals in your sprint periods. If you know you have some downtime planned in, use it to fuel you to get finished. A friend of mine who owns his own business and tends to work away a lot makes sure he plans one evening a week for a digital detox. No phones, no TV, no computers, no tablets. It's the same rule for his whole family, and he makes sure they do something really worthwhile and spend quality time together with no distraction. The sprint v slow is all about balance, and you need to figure out the best way to make it work for you. Dan Meredith, who's the author of How to Be F-Checking Awesome Documents, his own sprint and slow method on his Coffee with Dan Facebook groups, and his process is fascinating. He works in 90-day sprints and then 90 days slow. In a 90-day period, it's all work. He writes books in a matter of days, creates brand new online programmers overnight, and launches new businesses. And then, when 90 days are over, it's time to slow. Dan uses this time to still work on his businesses, but he tries to use this time to focus on fun and travel. Check out one of his many posts and videos of him playing on his jet ski or taking himself off to a foreign city for the day. Honestly, the guy is ace and worth a follow if you don't already. Search Coffee with Dan on Facebook. Illuming your days, Jack Dorsey, the Chief Executive Officer of Square and one of the founders of Twitter, is the champ of sprinting. He worked 8 hours a day for both companies at the same time for a while when Square was being established. He said the only way to do this is to be very disciplined and very productive. Yet he didn't do it forever. 8 months, I believe. But he was strict about having the weekends off completely, and he also structured his working week by theming each day. Jack Dorsey's days looked like this. Monday, management meetings. Tuesday, product. Wednesday, marketing, comms and growth. Thursday, developers and partnerships. Friday, company structure and recruiting. Having this structure meant he always knew that if a task cropped up to do with marketing, for example, he'd deal with it on a Wednesday. He was able to stay focused and work this way for an extended period. If you're self-employed and have flexibility with the way you structure your work, and many entrepreneurs recommend a sprint method for the start of your working week. So, if you can figure out your most important and time-consuming tasks you do week in, week out, try and get those done at the start of the week, and work in late if you have to. This is what a few entrepreneurs I admire do. That leaves the rest of the week for creativity, growth ideas, and actually working on your business rather than stuck in it. Or, even better, it leaves you with the time to rest, relax, learn, or be creative. If you don't own your own business and your goals around being more organized in the home, or better at work, or a health or fitness goal, could you adopt the same thinking? Could you challenge yourself to pick up the pace at the start of the week and complete those tasks, leaving you with a bit of thinking and wiggle room for the latter end into the weekend? Working out your sprint v slow limits, or for you, do you know your own sprint v slow limits? Do you know how much you can take on and the point at which you really need to slow it all down? Do you know your weekly non-negotiable tasks in your life and business that must be completed? The tasks that you could maybe look to start completing at the start of the week, freeing up time later in the week for those slower days. Have you been pushing too hard and overtraining? Are you giving your body the rest it needs? Are you eating enough ahead of that sporting competition to give you the edge? When was the last time you went on holiday and truly switched off? We are so connected to our devices these days that it has almost become the norm to still be in contact with the office when we are away, which never fully allows our brains and bodies the chance to rest and recover. So, if you are feeling the burn of burnout and know the slow-down process is well overdue, could your one thing today be to do just that for yourself? A massage, a 10-minute meditation, a chat over a cup of coffee with a good friend, a relaxing steam and sauna session at the gym. Your favorite meal out for dinner? What could you do that will help you slow? I'm sick and tired of always being sick and tired. One thing that really stops me from being in flow and being able to sprint is not actual tiredness, but perceived and forced tiredness. Try this exercise out for size today. In the course of your day today, notice how many times people say I'm tired or a variation of it. I'm shattered, knackered, fucked, done in. I think you will be shocked. I believe that we say this out of habit, rather than actually listening to our bodies and assessing how we feel. Another great exercise is this. If, or a week, try and stop saying that you are tired. I did this and was really shocked how much I said it, and how it then made me feel, well, tired. Just like someone yawning in front of you will make your own mouth and throat twitch into the yawning action, the saying you are tired makes you feel tired. I'd encourage you to ask yourself the question, yes, but am I really? If you aren't actually tired, well, then you've got more time and energy to dedicate towards your goals. Visualize the outcome before a meeting, interview, social event, date, whatever the occasion. Visualize it and imagine positive results. Professional dancers must see the moves they've not yet learned in their head before they can even begin to teach their bodies to master them. It's an important trait of successful people. Learn to visualize the best outcome, and you'll up your odds of achieving great results. Gratitude, forgiveness, and positive thinking. Gratitude is an important action in human life that helps not only people with self-discipline, but is often used to help people that are facing self-esteem and self-confidence issues. A huge problem in our modern world today is that we are constantly presented with millions of materialistic things that cause us always to be wanting something more or something else. This causes people to spend too much time thinking about all the things that they want and not enough time thinking about the things that they already have. Building a habit of gratitude helps people move away from constantly wanting the things that they don't have and move forward towards appreciating the things that they do have. When people do this, they can begin to make remarkable changes in their lives. The effects of practicing and showcasing gratitude are extremely crucial. It improves people's mental health, emotional well-being, and spirituality. Gratitude is capable of so many things. Practicing gratitude is an exercise that is constantly used in therapy to help the client move away from thinking about things that aren't in the present and focus on being mindful. But most importantly, gratitude helps people move away towards a state of abundance and away from a state of lack. When people live in a state of lack, it makes it impossible for them to focus on achieving their goals and being self-disciplined. They spend too much of their mental energy and capacity worrying about the things that they don't have or living in a fearful way to the point that they forget about the things that they do have. The state of lack can also show up in someone's physical symptoms. This state produces a lot of stress because the brain automatically releases cortisol and epinephrine, which are the stress hormones from our brains. These hormones impact numerous systems within the human body. When someone is stressed, their immune systems, digestive systems, and reproductive systems are all affected. We must spend a few minutes every day writing down all the things that we are grateful for. Even if you feel like you don't have anything to be grateful for, try hard to find something. It doesn't have to be anything large, like winning the lottery or finding $20 on the ground. It could be something very simple like nice weather, a nice conversation that you had with your barista, or even just seeing a cute dog on your way home. If you are someone living a fast-paced life, how often do you find yourself feeling angry, frustrated, or annoyed? Due to the insane amount of convenience we are offered in our daily lives, the simple annoyances that happen in a person's day can cause a spiral of negative emotions. For example, if you're in a hurry to get to work and you happen to be running late that day, the coffee shop that you normally stop at to get your morning coffee is taking forever to make your order. When you finally get your coffee, you realize that they had made your order wrong, but now you have no time to get it fixed. That one simple human error has sent you into a spiral of anger and annoyance, and you struggle to let go of it, and you find that it is still negatively impacting your whole day. This causes you to have spent most of your energy upset about the coffee shop that wronged you, and you don't have enough mental capacity to focus on other things like practicing your self-discipline. When people spend most of their days feeling the emotions of anger, regret, or guilt, they are creating more problems than they are with solutions. The emotions of anger and hate consume much more energy in a person's body compared to positive emotions like forgiveness and love. Forgiveness is something that can be learned. When people learn to forgive, only then will they be able to let go of certain things. Without learning the habit of forgiveness, people would simply not be able to achieve self-discipline. When a person is too worried about how someone or something has wronged them, it makes it impossible for them to focus on achieving their goals or on their personal discipline. If someone has hurt you in the past, learn to forgive them. It doesn't mean that you must forget about what they did to you altogether. Simply just forgive and let go of that negative energy and give it back to the universe rather than keeping it within your body. When we perform the act of forgiveness, we are letting go of the negative energy that inhibits our ability to practice self-discipline. If you want to master self-discipline, you must get rid of sources that are sucking away at your mental energy. Holding on to negative emotions like anger is a sure way for your energy to be drained. While forgiveness might not seem like a disciplined habit when you first look at it, it is an extremely crucial one to build in the process. Try to think about the people or situations that you are currently angry with. It could be someone that you think has wronged you recently, or simply just an annoying situation that has happened to you. Instead of just thinking about how it made you feel, try to put yourself in their shoes. What would be the things that you would do if you were in their situation? Make it light-hearted and try to find some humor in it. Rather than thinking about it as a situation that shouldn't have happened, try to find a lesson learned in those situations. I know that it is very hard to forgive certain people, especially if they have really hurt you or wronged you in life. However, It isn't until people are able to let go of those feelings of animosity and hurt before things in their life really begin to improve. People are often so busy stressing and worrying that they don't spend enough time thinking about how they are going to change their future. Optimism is reflected in all aspects of life, and it has numerous positive benefits. It is a concept that numerous people have found easy to believe in and follow, just as others scoff at it. Just how significant is a positive perspective? What exactly are its specific advantages? And how does it even work? The law of attraction in science, you learned that opposite magnetic poles attract each other. However, in the spiritual world, the opposite is true. Like attracts like, and when you learn to take things positively, your life takes on a whole new meaning as you are uplifted by any encounter you have. The law of attraction advances the concept that if you think positively, you will call positive things towards you. The law also states that the opposite is true. That means if you constantly think about negative things with a cynical and insecure worldview, your negativity will be self-inflicted. The mind tends to be more predisposed to negative thoughts. This is based on a scientific concept called neuroplasticity, which involves the brain's capability to evolve and change depending on the circumstances we face in life. Bad things can be retained in mind for longer periods, and bad thoughts that occur repeatedly can lead to negative stimulations and, in turn, poor habits. This is why such bad things have a tendency to lead to depression. However, the thoughts can be reversed by being replaced with positive ones. Positive thoughts bring about warm feelings and, as such, can enable you to get rid of the bad habits. Positive thinking and good health, since optimistic people make better life choices and actively mind their health, they are generally healthier as compared to those who have a pessimistic mindset. Due to less stress and the ability to handle the harmful effects of stress, optimistic people experience the following: an increased lifespan, lesser depression rates, a higher resistance to common cold, a greater well-being and psychological condition, a better cardiovascular health and lower death rates from cardiovascular problems, and enhanced capabilities to cope with hardships and stress. Positive thinking and success in life. Positive thinking allows people to approach numerous scenarios with a better mentality. If, for instance, you are looking forward to a job interview, you may prepare yourself well if you are positive about it. On the other hand, if you have been approaching the interview negatively, thinking that you will not get it, you will fail to prepare yourself properly. Inadequate preparation will lead to you being jumpy during the interview, and the interviewers may fail to consider you. However, if you had approached them more confidently and prepared yourself well, they will easily consider you for the position you apply in. This example is replicated in numerous other scenarios where you do not need magic to have good things in your life, but only a firm belief that they will happen. If you approach obstacles with a positive mindset, you focus on how you can succeed rather than why you will not succeed. As a result, you can learn and take on new skills that enable you to triumph over the challenges you face. How pessimism manifests. Self-talk can be positive or negative, and a build-up of pessimistic thoughts should be avoided. The only way to ensure such is to know how to monitor the mind for any pessimistic thoughts. You can do so by avoiding the following: filtering. This is when you focus on the negative consequences of certain scenarios and fail to put emphasis on the positive effects. It not only prevents you from getting gratified when you do a good thing or accomplish a significant milestone, but also prevents you from having grander goals. Personalizing. When you personalize all things that happen around you, you tend to put the blame on yourself, especially when bad things occur. This blame makes you view yourself as a lesser human being, and in turn your pessimism intensifies. Catastrophizing. This aspect involves you assuming that one bad thing will automatically cause numerous other negative occurrences. It makes you expect bad things to happen to you just because another bad occurrence happened, even when it was by accident. Polarizing. This involves a firm belief that there is no neutral ground. When you polarize things, you never believe in a middle ground between good and bad. As such, when you fail to be perfect, you automatically think that you are a total failure. How to embrace positive thinking. The good thing about positive thinking is that you can learn it. Even when you are used to having a negative mindset, it is easy to inculcate a positive one through the following methods. Change the way you speak. Words shape you even when you do not realize, and when you get used to saying positive things, your optimism rises. This includes the words that you say to yourself, not only those you say to other people. As such, learn how to watch what you say and use more positive words whenever you need to express your feelings. Smile more often. A smile triggers the brain to release hormones that make you feel happier, and as such, leads to more internal positivity. As such, it is better to smile more often, even at scenarios when you do not feel like doing so. If you learn to smile, even when you have negative feelings, you can enhance your mood and heal yourself when in negative situations. Unnecessary complaining is bad. If you cannot control something, it is better to let it go rather than to complain excessively. There are numerous things that you will encounter which you will have zero power to change. To remain positive when encountering such scenarios, accept the fact that you cannot control them and avoid thinking about them. If the scenario is within your power, then seek to do something positive to change it, such as removing the cause of the complaint. Don't be too hard on yourself. A constructive criticism is ideal, but you should avoid extending it to a point where you blame yourself for each and every bad occurrence. Understand that excessive criticism is dangerous, and it can cause more negative occurrences if left unwatched. You should accept that mistakes are common, and when they happen, the best way to react is to use them as a learning opportunity and move on with life. Embrace thankfulness. Rather than constantly striving to get more in your life, first focus on what you already have and give thanks for such. Know the good things that you already have, and instead of focusing on material things, appreciate the relationships you have, nature, and great health. Also, try to appreciate other people rather than being jealous of whatever they have in their lives. You might be jealous of other people while they may only seem to have good things on the surface but suffering deeply. Practice using affirmations. Affirmations help you to expect better things in your life. There are numerous means that you can create and speak powerful things into your life. When you tell yourself great things, you believe them, and they easily trickle into your life. You should say the things you wish for out loud, write them and post them on areas around your house where you can see them constantly. You will, as such, be reminded of great thoughts, and as such, your optimism is increased. Improve the way you communicate. Learn to have better communication and to also tolerate the views of other people. This does not mean that you should always agree with what other people say, but be able to understand why they think the way they do. This involves understanding their perspectives and agreeing to disagree with them when common ground cannot be established for more harmony and coexistence. Practice patience. You may take a long time to change your thoughts, beliefs, and dedication, but you can do such great dedication and perseverance. Ignore skeptics. Pessimistic people can influence you to have a negative mindset, and avoiding them will help you to maintain an optimistic one. Have more presence. You can improve this by practicing meditation, which enables you to have more awareness. You experience peace and have less worry about the future. You get to live peacefully in the present, improving your appreciation of life. The more you uplift your thoughts, the better your life gets in all aspects. You can practice the steps outlined above to have a better approach and experience more wholesomeness and success. Chapter 5. Daily Habits and Routines to Self-Discipline. Self-discipline is a work in progress and a goal. The goal is to become more self-disciplined. However, Being self-disciplined is not something one achieves once and considers it done. Once self-discipline is achieved, it must be considered a lifestyle. It must be nurtured daily and constantly refreshed to stay relevant and useful. The self-discipline is a habit, a good habit to have to make life more worthwhile. The self-discipline is the backbone of a successful person. Whether a person desires personal success, professional success, or both, self-discipline will lead them to their goal. It begins with a strong ability to control oneself with strict discipline. Thoughts are under control. Emotions are under control. The behavior is under control. This does not mean that thoughts never run wild and emotions never float to the surface. It just means that they are never allowed to control the person. One might get a little misty-eyed at the birthday card with the cute kittens on it, but one would not let this feeling take over the entire day. This is self-discipline. The person controls thoughts and emotions. The self-control becomes a habit, a new personal best friend. A burning desire to achieve these goals will not be enough to achieve these goals. The strong knowledge of personal strengths and weaknesses, combined with a good understanding of how to discipline oneself, is the key to being successful. Good habits make the difference between failure and success. Successful people know that discipline is the key that unlocks the door to future goal achievement. They use discipline daily to enable themselves to be able to achieve their dreams. They know how to use a strong foundation built on strong habits to enable them to be successful. They are fully aware that self-discipline will allow them to accomplish more in less time, making them a more valuable member of the team. But where does this discipline come from? How does one person seem so at ease with controlling their actions and behaviors while other people fail on a daily basis? How do some people live lives of total self-control, while other people never seem to know where their shoes are, much where they are going? The answer is habit. The behavior is mostly driven by habit. If someone can control their habits, they can have strict control over their personal habits. Moreover, developing good habits really is as simple as knowing where the shoes are. A self-disciplined person will have a dedicated space for shoes. When the shoes are removed from the feet, they are placed in this dedicated space. The self-disciplined person is now almost late to work because they cannot find their shoes. If this sounds familiar, then try this little exercise. Pick a dedicated place for the shoes. It does not matter where, the closet, tucked under the bed, next to the nightstand, wherever. A dedicated spot is a personal choice. Now, every night, make a conscious effort to put the shoes in the dedicated spot every time they are removed from the feet. One day, it will be apparent that this has become a habit, a good habit to have, because now there is no more searching for the shoes on cold, dark mornings. While this exercise may seem quite simple, it is a prime example of setting a goal, making a plan to achieve that goal, and achieving that goal. Good habits will allow a person to create a good plan for achieving future goals. Without good habits, the self-discipline will never become a reality. How are these habits developed? Why is it so difficult to overcome bad habits? The problem is the pathways in our brains. Whenever a habit is begun, whether it is a good habit or a bad habit, the brain creates pathways that tell the body to act a certain way when certain things happen. A cigarette smoker will want to light up a cigarette when someone else does. Seeing the cigarette, smelling the cigarette, triggers the nerve pathways in the brain of a smoker to have their own cigarette. This is why cigarette smokers who are trying to quit are often encouraged to change some of their daily habits. The smoking is often tied to other activities. Beer drinkers who smoke will smoke more when drinking. Coffee drinkers who smoke will automatically light up while pouring that first morning cup. People who smoke on long car trips may be encouraged to chew gum instead. People who drink may need to stop frequenting the local bar. Coffee drinkers will need to find something to do with their hands instead of lighting a cigarette. The nerve pathways that a bad habit created can be broken. It will take time and hard work, but then not smoking becomes the new good habit. Creating good habits from bad requires effort, but it can be done. Good habits take time to build and bad habits take time to break. To start small, work hard and consider a few simple tricks that might help ease into the habit of fostering good habits. To start by taking the time to be thankful for what is already present in life. Humans spend much more time than needed wanting bigger, better things. Once people learn to be happy with the things they already have and not waste time wanting things they do not have, they can begin to see what is really important in life and begin to make a plan to add to those things that are really meaningful. Humans spend far too much time feeling useless emotions like guilt or anger. The negative emotions use way too much energy that is needed to focus on the good things in life. Letting go of negative emotions frees the mind, the heart, and the soul to be able to focus on the positive effects that building new habits will create. Learning how to let go of negative emotions is actually an excellent way to build self-discipline. It is a way of letting the world see the strength inside. Daily meditation has a wonderful effect on the ability to become more self-disciplined. Meditation leads to a clear mind, a relaxed heart. It improves physical and mental health. A few minutes of meditation daily leads the body to sync up better with the mind. It is much easier to create good habits that will lead to self-discipline if the mind is relaxed and ready to receive good thoughts. It is important to set specific goals by writing them down. Once a goal is committed to paper, it becomes an active thing, something that can be seen. Goals that are kept in the mind do not have the same strength as goals that are written down. Goals in the mind can be forgotten or pushed aside. Goals written on paper are seen every time the paper is seen, and when they are written down, it is impossible to ignore them. They want attention. They want direction and planning. They want to be considered, cared for, and loved. They want attention. To start small and work on them daily. Remember to eat healthily and sleep well and regularly. The body cannot process new habits if it is undernourished. Good healthy food is crucial to giving the body enough energy to work on new and better habits. This is especially necessary when trying to break bad habits. Bad habits require extra energy to put aside. The sleep is especially important too. Most adults need between 7 and 9 hours of sleep every night. Play around with these numbers until the correct amount is determined, and then stick to that number. Make every attempt to go to bed at the same time each night and wake up at the same time each day. This is a good habit that will lead to self-discipline of personal habits. Of course, things happen, and sometimes people fall off the schedule, but get back on it as soon as possible and do not regret 1 or 2 small slips. They happen. Exercise is another good habit that must be settled into the daily routine. Regular exercise is important in keeping the body healthy. Usually, the word exercise gives bad connotations to many people, but exercise does not need to be a negative thing. It does not mean running out to join the neighborhood gym or begin training for a marathon. Anything that gets the body moving is exercise. Go for a walk, jump rope, play with the kids in the front yard. Anything. Just get moving. Join a sports team. Remember how much fun baseball used to be? Rake leaves, clean out the garage, push the lawnmower around the yard. Regular movement releases stress and tensions and is another way to create a good habit. Practice organization. Some people are naturally organized, and some people need to work very hard to be organized. If the latter group seems more familiar, do not try to become completely organized overnight. The organization will not happen, but failure definitely will. Being well organized is a habit, and like any other good habit, it will take work to achieve. Begin by organizing one thing. Begin with a drawer. It is small and easy to organize. Have some boxes ready. When removing things from the drawer, look at them closely and try to recall the last time they were used. If it has been more than 6 months, then the item is not needed. Have some boxes ready while doing this. If the item is still in good condition, it goes in the box to be donated. If the item is beyond usefulness, then it goes into the box to go to the trash. Be firm. Do not hold on to something because it might get used. If it's a family heirloom and impossible to give up, put it in a box in the attic. When one drawer is clean, go to the next one. When all the drawers are organized, move to the cabinets. As long as unnecessary items are not brought back into the house, then the house will remain clean and well organized. Cleanliness will become a habit. Time management is another goal that is necessary to embrace to build good habits and become self-disciplined. If there is no time management, then time is the manager, and time is a very bad manager. Unmanaged time will slip away rapidly, leaving no time left in the day to do all the things that need to be done. Time management is nothing more than a plan to reach a goal of order and organization. An important part of time management is cleaning out the activities. Just like cleaning drawers of unused items, there are many unnecessary activities clogging up daily life. After the drawers and cabinets are cleaned and the house stays organized, one unneeded activity, constantly straightening the house, will be eliminated. It really is that simple. Think of all the time that is actually wasted throughout a day engaging in unnecessary activities. How much time is wasted digging through a laundry basket looking for socks, when it would be so much quicker if the socks were in the drawer? How much time is wasted deciding what to cook for dinner when there is no set menu plan available to consult? How much time is wasted trying to find lost shoes? It all adds up. No level of discipline will be successful without persistence. Temporary failure is not a reason to give up. Persistence is what keeps people going even through times of extreme failure. As far as progress goes, failure is an important part of life. Think of it not so much as doing something the wrong way, but in finding yet another way that just did not work. In that instance, it is a learning opportunity and not a failure. This will also help lead toward greater self-discipline by refusing to quit. Habit and discipline go together hand in hand. Building a new habit is difficult in the very beginning because the body and the mind need to be taught a new way of thinking and working. But chasing good habits with persistence leads to greater self-discipline. The longer a habit is practiced, the more it becomes a part of the routine. It becomes easier, it becomes a habit, and no longer needs to be practiced daily. It just naturally gets done, and once one new habit is set, it becomes much easier to add each successive one. If someone makes the decision to quit smoking, then not smoking is the new habit that will be cultivated. Once it has been persistently practiced long enough so that it is not so difficult anymore, then it is much easier to add healthy eating. After all, one good habit deserves another. Right, with 2 new good habits in place, it just makes sense to add the habit of regular exercising. This is how new and better habits are formed and how habits build upon each other to create a lifestyle of self-discipline. The self-discipline is nothing more than practicing a series of good habits until they become ingrained in the daily routine to the point where they are a part of life. As more bad habits are replaced with good habits, then the good ones take over and lead to a more orderly and organized life. As life becomes more organized, it becomes easier to manage, and now it has become a life of self-discipline. Common habits of people with mental toughness become cool and collected. The first habit that people with mental toughness display that you should try to emulate is that of carrying themselves as if they are cool, calm, collected, and in control of every situation that they are in. And they do this even if they are not completely sure that they can control the situation. Acting and thinking as if you are leaving parts of a situation up to luck and prayer, although this may seem like it brings hope to many people, can cause you to feel that you are not in control of the situation and you are powerless to truly control what is going on around you, and and the situation that you are in. Feeling and acting as if you're in control can give you an underlying mindset that you have control over the world around you. This mentality has a significant impact on the way that you think and behave. Not wasting time concentrating on things you cannot control, in fact, just spending a significant amount of time and energy thinking about the things that are beyond your control or that you cannot change can be draining on your energy, frustrating, a waste of time, and a confidence killer. It's similar to what they say in Alcoholics Anonymous. You need to have the courage to accept that the things that you can change and change the things that you can, and have the wisdom to know the difference. People with mental toughness tend to abide by the statement, even if they have never been an alcoholic. Things that are beyond your control should also be beyond your focus. No one is blessed with endless mental energy. Therefore, one habit that people with mental toughness display is the ability to stop wasting their time thinking about the things that are out of their reach or control, so that they can spend more time focusing on all of the things that they have full control over. This differs from the aforementioned being calm, cool, and collected, because you can actually be calm and cool while occupying your mind and your thoughts with activities and events that are not within your control. To stay focused on things that you do have control over. Leave the past in the past, but learn from it. The past does have its place, but it is definitely in the past, is what people who have mastered mental toughness definitely understand. Yes, it is important to learn from the past so that you do not repeat the same mistakes. However, you should not be overly focused on or consumed by the past. This is true whether the past was good or bad. It is easy to understand why you should not spend a great deal of time focused on the past if it was full of negative things. However, many people often fail to realize that it is equally harmful to spend your time focusing on the past that it was great. If you were a star running back in college but hold down a regular 9-to-5 now, just spending a great deal of time going over and trying to relive the heroic moments of your past can cause you to waste time and even miss out of the present. And it is the present that prepares you for the future. You cannot live in or relive the past. It is over. Even if the memories and the lessons from it linger, time keeps moving on, and it is best that you keep moving with it. Part of understanding that the past is in the past is to understand that you should not bring all of the negative thoughts and feelings and experiences from the past into the present. For instance, if you were a fat girl that did not get many dates in high school and college, however, you lost 75 pounds, you need to understand that you are no longer the fat chick, and you should not let the hurts of the past limit your present and future. One way to leave the past in the past is to understand that it does not change. Thus, there is no use in going over different scenarios of what-ifs. If there is a different step or direction that you believe you should have gone in the past, figure out how to go in that direction now. And if the door has closed on that opportunity in your life, find another door that you can open. Change yourself, but don't try to change others in life. We often want other people around us to change so much that we try to change them. However, this is far from a great tactic to us and often a waste of time, energy, and emotions. If you want to see changes in your life, you need to make them. Take active steps to make changes that will benefit you without expecting others to change with you. This is not to say that the people around you that you care about won't be willing to change for the better, but you to see, let them make the decision that they need to change on their own. And even if you can encourage some people to change, you can't change everybody, but you can change some of the people around you. Some people in your life are not going to be willing to change, and if they are bringing you down in any way, you need to get them out of your life. It is important to know when to cut some people out of your life who are treating you negatively or otherwise having a negative effect on your life instead of hoping and waiting for them to change. Don't waste time on envy and jealousy in life. We often look at others and wish we had what they have. Sometimes it seems as though life is unfair because we do not have those things. And there's no usefulness in spending time thinking that things are unfair and being jealous of others. In fact, when others around you experience success, you should be happy for them and proud of them in order to be in a positive state of mind. Envy is a significant energy drainer. It is a lot more prudent to spend your time figuring out how you can better yourself than wishing you had what someone else has. If you spend your time thinking about how you can get where you want to be, you may even get what they have that you are jealous of. Not spending a great deal of time worrying about what others think about you. Spending time thinking about what others think about you is often in the same category as spending time thinking about things that you cannot control. It can be a major time waster. Yes, you do need to care what other people think about you. You can't just ignore what other people think about you. In fact, if a significant number of people seem to be thinking the same thing, then they could be right. The world is full of other people, and it is better to have them on your side than against you, and can make life significantly easier. You will learn more about this later in this book when you learn about emotional intelligence. Be thankful for everything that you have. People with mental strength garner some of it from being thankful for all that they have. This can especially be true in tough times. Instead of dwelling on the things that you do not have, it is often better to focus on the things that you do. This can help you persevere and get through your obstacles and trying times. Wallowing in self-pity. The opposite of being thankful for what you have is a habit that those who desire or possess mental toughness never display. This is an energy and emotion drainer that can keep you stuck where you are during troubled times, unable to move past them. This is why you should count your blessings. During hard times or when you need some encouragement, you should even try making a list of the things in your life that you are thankful for. And everything on the list does not have to be something big. Look around at your surroundings and in your life and try to find some small things that you can be thankful for. And noticing all of the little things around you that you can be grateful for, that you overlook on a daily basis, can help you to understand how lucky and blessed you are, and give you the strength and mental toughness to go on day to day and pursue your life's goals. Don't criticize people who are mentally tough. Don't spend their time complaining about and criticizing situations around them. Instead, they look at the positive aspects of things instead of focusing on the negative. Either find some way to change whatever it is that you see that's flawed, or let it go. Complaining does nothing but causes you and the people around you to hear a bunch of negative thoughts. In fact, if you have a habit of complaining, you may develop the reputation of being a negative force of a donor to people that have to listen to it. To live in the present, not the future. The present is now. And many people are aware that it is damaging to spend a great deal of time living in the past. However, you may not be as aware that it is just as damaging to spend too much time in the future as well. If there are things that you need to do to achieve your goal, a new goal that you would like to achieve, there's something that you would like to do, or even something as simple as making sure you do something fun that day, don't wait for a more convenient time in the future to start these things. Not wanting to live in the future is especially important when it comes to enjoying your life. It is important to take some time out to have fun and enjoy life in order to stay mentally and emotionally balanced. Because everything in life does not always work out as planned, and some goals that you set you may not end up achieving. One way to avoid becoming frustrated and lose your willpower and determination is to make sure that you do some of the fun things that you have been waiting until you have more money or until your kids go off to college to do. Lesser scale traits of mental toughness. And there are some characteristics of mentally tough people that can be seen in some of the things that they do that may not, at first, be obvious to people who are looking on. These are smaller than the aforementioned traits and characteristics of mentally tough people, but they are still worth mentioning. 1. Mentally tough people also display the ability to forgive. It takes a mentally strong person to forgive others for things that they have done to hurt them. Holding grudges is mentally and emotionally draining and can prevent you from partaking in some opportunities. However, it is important to examine why something happened to determine if it was a one-time thing or something that is a part of a person's character. This is because even though a mentally strong person has the capacity to forgive, you still should not let the same person burn you over and over. A mentally strong person also has the ability to recognize when someone needs to be eliminated from his or her life, or at least kept at a distance. That being said, forgiveness is for the forgiver. It lets a weight off of your mind and gives you inner peace with regard to the situation that took place for which you are bestowing the forgiveness. 2. They ask for help when they need it. A lot of people may be too proud to ask for help. However, the mentally tough people are strong enough to ask people for assistance when they need it. Asking for help shows that you understand your limitations and you are willing to sacrifice a small bit of pride before you fail to do something properly. 3. People with mental strength are financially responsible. It is important to be financially responsible so that you can save money for the future and afford the things that you need. It is also important not to overextend yourself credit-wise so you can buy things such as house and cars and get school loans. The mentally tough people understand this and are willing to forgo some of the little things that they would have liked to have in life now in order to save money and ensure that they have good credit. In fact, short of a tragedy, the overwhelming majority of people with mental toughness have good credit. 4. Mentally tough people manage time wisely. Just as people with mental strength manage money wisely, they also manage time wisely. People with mental strength understand that utilizing their time wisely is important to being able to achieve all that they need to do throughout the day so that they get everything that they need to get accomplished done and turned in on time. This is a sign of maturity. It's something that responsible people do. 5. People with mental strength are humble. Mental strength and humility go hand in hand. People with mental strength do not need to be arrogant about their accomplishments or toot their own horn. They feel that if they do a good enough job in work, the school or life, their work and accomplishments will speak for themselves, and they can carry themselves with humility. If you feel the need to be arrogant, ask yourself, where are you falling short that your work and life do not already speak volumes about where you are? Realize, however, that humble is not the same as self-deprecating. Don't try to make yourself smaller to make others comfortable, but be a big enough person not to brag. 6. Mentally strong people know how to pick their battles. In life, there will be numerous times when you and other people tend to disagree. You do not always have to speak up and show it. Instead, it is often best to pick and choose when to speak up and when to let some things go for the sake of keeping things running smoothly and preserving amicable relationships. Although you should not shy away from conflict if it is necessary for you to stand up for yourself or some other important reason, you should not shy away from it either. 7. Mentally strong people realize that although they have control over their own lives, everything in life isn't fair, and they should not expect it to be. Yes, you should believe that you have control over your own life. However, it is unrealistic to believe that simply working hard, doing all the right things, and being a good person can get you everything. Some people are born with more, some people are given things, and some people are lucky enough to win the lottery. That's life. It does not make sense to spend time thinking about whether or not everything is fair. The answer is no, but that you have to live with. 8. People with mental toughness treat others fairly. Treating other people fairly is a very important part of being a strong-minded person. We have all seen someone who appeared to be easy to take advantage of, and there are a number of people out there who certainly would do so. Getting something this way seems to be easy and fast, but it should also be against your morals and values. This only gets you somewhere in the short term. It can damage your reputation and make you seem like an untrustworthy, scandalous, unreliable person who may take advantage of others. Even if the vulnerable person was the only person who you took advantage of, it is everyone would trust you less because of it. This is one thing that is not worth doing to yourself in the long run. The Stoicism is like a way of life, and therefore, for anyone who wants to be a Stoic, must incorporate Stoic exercises in his or her life and make it as part of the daily routine. The daily activities should be guided by Stoic exercises that lay a foundation of Stoicism. To meditate daily, the best way to start the day is by waking up very early in the morning and put up a positive attitude that will keep you energized during the day. You should make sure that you have enough time and a quiet environment that will help you prepare for the day. The room for preparing should not have much light, and as you sit down to make sure that you are comfortable enough, the day is ahead of you and it involves so many activities that need to be accomplished. It is good to go through all the activities of the day, and then register the challenges that come with the activities, and by slowly reflecting on the challenges, trying to find out the solutions to the challenges. And make sure that you know how each of the activities is going to be executed effectively. You should also have in mind something that you want to improve from the previous undertakings. As long as it is part of the activities to be executed, you also need inspiration, and therefore you can read writing that inspires you or a verse from the Bible. However, this depends on what inspires you as an individual. You can go through the inspirational writing several times, listening to it with your inner part of your heart. Put it to yourself that after you go through the day, you should call yourself again back in a meditating room before you go to sleep, and make sure that it is not brightly lit to give you a quiet moment without distraction. Go through the activities of the day, asking yourself what you did right and what you did wrong. Did you finish all the activities you intended to do for that day? And if there are activities that were left out, why were they left out? However, make sure that you accomplish all the activities that you had committed, because you are living like today is the last day. If you carry today's activities in the next day, you might not get a chance to see tomorrow to do it. The activities that were not carried out should be rescheduled. There is still a chance of them being done. Congratulate yourself on what you did right and commit yourself to improve on what you did not do right when a chance presents itself. After the reflection on the day, you can clear your head and sleep. To strive to do what is good and avoid what is bad. The daily activities involve making a decision about different issues, and therefore, as you go about your activities, remember to be mindful in terms of the choices you make. Remember that every action, regardless of whether it is considered important or not, has an ethical or moral component, and for you to live a Stoic life, you must pursue virtue. Therefore, before you make any decision throughout the day, make sure that it is directed towards making you virtuous. Put the many options that you have at hand to accomplish the activity, and from the options, choose the one that is more moral. You should also have deliberate activities that encourage doing good. It should be part of the plan and not accidental. But for instance, you can decide that after taking lunch, you make sure that you also provide lunch to one person that is in need. This does not mean that you should always provide lunch for someone. You can choose to do a different thing every day, but just make sure that you are doing it wholeheartedly. Remember that all you have does not count as you go about your daily activities. You must interact with other people from different levels of life, own different opinions, and have different strengths and weaknesses. The people also have different intellectual abilities and from different economic background. When you meet with them, treat them with respect, because all that you have is not yours. Take all your possessions as borrowed things that you can lose any time. The good clothes that you wear, the food that you eat, the good health that you are enjoying, and all other possession, including the people that you love, should not be a basis for you to demean others. They can vanish in a fraction of a second, and therefore, regardless of your achievements, possession, and titles, or the position you hold in whatever place, you are just a small thing on earth, which can vanish from the earth. The effect felt by the whole world is small. Remember that even the prominent people die, and it is only their names that are left in books to be read by people in the future generation. Therefore, As you mingle with people of different levels and different aspects, remain focused. Do not think of yourself highly because all of you are the same. Take time to experience hardship. There are conditions that you fear experiencing in your life, and because you know them, let yourself experience them bit by bit in your daily activities. Or, for example, if you fear being demoted from the position you have to work as an ordinary worker, you can choose the activities done by the ordinary worker and have a schedule that will help you do the tasks they do every day. The approach will help you appreciate the work done by the junior workers and deal with the anxiety and fear of losing the position that you have. The experience makes you realize that being at a lower position is not that bad, and because you have already lived it, it will be easy to cope in case it happens to you. The consistent discomfort that you feel when you practice being in hardship each day also brings about mental and physical endurance, and if a worst-case scenario comes your way, it will not leave you wretched. Looking at the situation in the wider perspective, it is not always that we are happy or the events and situations that come our way in our daily activities are appealing. Disappointment happens every day, and they can shut us from seeing the bright future that we have. When you are a disappointment, it does not matter the activity that has led to your disappointment with the person who has disappointed you. Sit down and look at yourself and what you are worth, and the life that you would wish to live in the future, and ask yourself, is looking miserable because of one person or one event in your life a good option? Count the blessing that surrounds you, and they cannot be compared to one disappointment. Therefore, always look at the future and not the past. The future can be made better. Past time and all its activities cannot be rewound and made better. And there is no need to dwell on the past, but the coming activities have greater potential. As a Stoic, always take each opportunity in your routine seriously to improve your future. Anticipating negative happenings before you begin your day, you have all the activities set. However, you should reflect on the plan for each activity and all the requirements for its effectiveness. As you evaluate, also look at the possibility of the activities failing or not going as you have planned. Also, anticipate the causes of the failure and look for measures to prevent it from falling. This might sound as being pessimistic, but it will save you from experiencing the actual failure because you have everything in place to prevent failure. In addition, since you are prepared for the failure, if it happens, it does not affect you much. And therefore, in every plan that you have for the day, always anticipate negative happenings and prepare for them by having measures to prevent them from happening. Accepting what happens in a daily routine, sometimes things do not happen the way we have planned. This is because even though we plan for the daily activities, we do not have control of the way they would happen. And therefore, as you plan to keep in mind, it might not be as planned, and if it happens as planned, be happy about it, and if it does not happen as planned again, be happy about it. There are things which are meant to happen the way they do, and even if you plan and take all the measures to make sure they happen as you wish, they still do not happen as expected. This means fate controls such situations, and it is good to accept them the way they happen. The attitude will help you not to spend much energy on things that cannot change, and not be frustrated when things do not happen as you wish. There is a reason that they happen the way they do, and even if you do not know the reason, it is always for the best. Turning problems into blessings, it is not always that we encounter good experiences. There are bad experiences that come our way, and sometimes we ask ourselves why it should be me. When the experience is not good, you should always learn to step on it and find a good experience from it. For instance, when going to work, you can meet people who step on you and just go away without apologizing. When you reach the workplace, the boss yells at you for no good reason. It seems unfair, but you can look at it as an opportunity to be more tolerant. Therefore, when you face a challenge in your daily routine, do not feel like, why me? Take it as an opportunity to make yourself a better person. Live like today is your last day as you go about your daily routine. Remember that you cannot live forever, and you do not know the day you will die. Therefore, Think about your achievements when you die tomorrow. What will you have done for the world, including your friends, family members, and other people in general? How will you be remembered? This stoic practice will help you to maximize every minute of your time in a day by concentrating on what is more important, doing good things and making the people you love and yourself happy. Remember that when you die, you will not have such a chance. Make use of the time you have on earth before it expires. Do not engage in judging others. Different people have their choices and have a different view of life. When you see them engaging in certain activities that are not within your value system, understand that people are different and everybody has what he or she values in this life. When you hear a person talking, it is not good to quickly judge the person by only looking at what he or she says. Again, do not judge a group of people because of the misbehavior of one person. In addition, what is considered morale by a certain family or group might not be what you consider morale, and they are justified to hold their opinion on the same. Who said your perspective of what is moral is universal? Let people do what they think is right, and when they go astray, only learn from their mistakes and make yourself a better person. And therefore, you should always try to judge your way of doing things and make your life and relationship with other people better. Remember, the way other people behave is out of your control, but you should control the way you behave. Therefore, only judge your behavior and leave others to judge themselves. Judging others makes you sound as if you are superior moral, something that is against Stoicism principles. Conclusion, you have made it to the end of this book, and that is definitely commendable. I am certain that your knowledge of self-discipline has been increased many times fold. It may surprise you that one of the main reasons why people lack self-discipline is the lack of knowledge in the first place. Some don't know that self-discipline can be built. Others don't know how to build it. We often admire people who are disciplined, those that always manage to do what needs to be done. After going through this book, you now know that self-discipline is not inborn, it is a habit that can be created and cultivated. That means that you can achieve self-discipline, which allows you to reach for your goals one step at a time. Have you identified mistakes that you have been making in your quest for success? One of the most common ones is the misconception that you always have to feel motivated in order to take action. You look at the people around you accomplishing things, and you imagine that they always wake up with the urge to get things done. This could not be further from the truth. Even the high achievers have days when they don't want to get out of bed, just like you do. What separates them from the rest is that they do it anyway. With that in mind, you don't have to wait a day longer to kick off your action plan. Have you tried before and failed? I'm sure you have now changed your mindset about failure. You will no longer have to cringe about the setback that you suffered. Failure is not meant to be fatal. You can leverage on defeat and bounce back even stronger, having gone through the book. Now is the time to plan. Get your goals right, then develop an action plan. Break the main goal into smaller goals that you can attend to daily. You can include an accountability partner to keep you in check. This is not one of those books that you read once and tuck away. This you keep close, so you can refer to it every so often. Feel free to recommend it to your peers so that they too can develop their self-discipline and attain the highest possible level of success. Conclusion.